And good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and welcome to today's episode of the Law News and Laughter podcast. And yes, Jason, Stingy, thank you both of you for sending me that message. Trust me, I'm all over it, because I cannot believe that Washington has removed the requirement to sit a bar exam because it's considered racist and discriminatory to minorities. Because apparently being qualified to be a lawyer is discriminatory. So, why the hell not? Also, hello to, I can see, Psycho Doll, hello, Brian Wilkinson, good to see you dropping by, Go-Host Shane, hello, Josh Chandler, hey, how you doing, and Coke Fairy, okay, alright. So, yeah, today's gonna be a little bit more structured, we got a little bit more of a plan to it, we got a little bit more... I tried to put, a structure, basically, to the show in place. We'll see exactly how well that goes. Right now, I'm doing my opening monologue. Let's see how well this goes. And as for those of you wondering exactly how long it's going to take me to boomer shit, I'm thinking it'll be pretty damn quick, because let's face it, I'm a... retard. And see, it's fine. I can say that because I'm saying it about myself. Anyone wants to have a go at me, you can bring it to my attention. So... what we're going to be talking about today, because there's a few different things we're going to be looking at. A Mississippi ex-police officer has pled guilty. Nope. That's my old notes. What the hell am I doing? Do white people still need to sit the bar exam, though? No, but their reason for removal of the bar exam is because it's discriminatory to minorities. There you go. Managed to... where are we? Let me bring my other notes across. So a crocodile handler has just about lost his genitals after a 15-foot croc decided to latch onto his crotch. World of Warcraft is getting a Battle Royale mode. Chicago is suing Glock, blaming the gun design for the city's gun violence, given that they're able to be rapidly or reasonably effectively altered. There you go. Being a qualified lawyer is now apparently discriminatory against minorities. And in today's case review, that's right, I'm adding a new segment. We're going to be doing a case review. We're going to be looking at the Chad Doerman case and the recent developments. Spoiler alert, the court has thrown out his confession. So that one's going to be interesting. 2 Mississippi cops have been sentenced in that case, one for 20 years, the other for 17. Well, there you go. All right, so let's get stuck into it. Welcome to today's episode of Law, News, and Laughter. Okay, but we are going to start off today with my head being just a little bit too slow. Hey, yeah, Steve, congratulations. You are one of the few that made it into the title opening scene. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Now, why is my camera ever so slightly low there? I think that's better. So you might be covering Florida Man. Steve, you'd be surprised how frequently I am covering Florida Man. I mean, most days there's 1, 2, maybe even 3 Florida men that get covered. So, Tammy, how you doing? All right, where are we? So, we're going to start with the lawsuit from the Buffalo shooting survivors against Reddit and YouTube is apparently moving forward. I'm not going to go through the whole Florida couple in Daytona Beach. Might be our clients. I hope not. Because I'm going to rant and rave. If it's a couple we're talking about. A judge has allowed the lawsuit against YouTube and Reddit related to the 2022 deadly Tops supermarket shooting in Buffalo, New York to move forward. The lawsuit, filed by survivors of the shooting and a family member of the victim, claimed that the two social media brands were instrumental in preparing the shooter to commit his heinous attack. Because basically part of what happened was that it's alleged that prior to committing the shooting at the supermarket, he went onto YouTube, he went onto social media platforms, and he viewed all of these different, we'll call them inflammatory, racially discriminatory, derogatory, inflammatory, videos. And apparently, having sat there and watched all of those, it stirred him up enough to allegedly go out and commit this atrocity. 10 people, all African American, were killed in a racially motivated mass shooting at a supermarket in Buffalo, New York in May 22. An attack that shook the nation and underscored a rise of white supremacy across the country. Good on you, ABC News. Way to keep the inflammatory language to a minimum there. Like, just you're doing really well there. In the shooter's plan to attack the supermarket, he described the radical, racist, and anti-Semitic ideals that he had cultivated on the internet. Their unreasonably dangerous and negligent design choices resulted in the shooter's addiction to their products and caused him to develop the mentality required to target and kill black people who were innocently shopping at their local supermarket, the lawsuit states. It continues, in addition to facilitating the shooter's radicalization, the design of these social media platforms provided the shooter with knowledge regarding the tools, products, and skills he needed to commit the mass shootings at Tops. I'm just putting it out there. He could potentially have gone to a library, looked at and read a whole bunch of books, and come to the same conclusion, as bad as that sounds. Yes, it is significantly easier to go to social media, read things that people put out there that don't require any effort, because, it does take, as Steve would know, it takes effort to publish a book. But if you really want to, if you want to piece together if you want to join the dots as to how to engage in a certain act, how to engage with certain individuals, the information's there. You can't just blame YouTube or Reddit or hell, even 4chan for this sort of shit. Okay? In addition to facilitating the shooter's radicalization, the design of the platforms provided him with the information. Yep, got that. Eric County Supreme Court Judge Paula L. Ferolito denied YouTube and Reddit's motion to dismiss the complaint. The internet made him do it. It's pretty much what it boils down to, yes. Denied YouTube and Reddit's motions to dismiss the complaint. The social media platforms had argued that because they hosted third-party content, they were not liable under the Communications Decency Act and the First Amendment. Both companies plan on appealing the decision. Coke Fairy, so being a murderer is not bad enough, now you have to be racist. Pretty much. Also, why did that... Oh, because I've got that one on top chat. That's why that didn't pop up. Okay. In a statement to ABC News, a Reddit spokesperson said hate and violence have no place on Reddit. Have you been to Reddit? Like, I'm sorry, but there are entire subreddits of all the things you can complain about being on Reddit, hate and violence is what you're going with. If you ever go nuts, am I going to get sued for harassment and emotional damage? Possibly, Stingy, quite potentially. The spokesperson cited their site-wide policies which prohibit content that promotes hate based on identity or vulnerability, as well as content that encourages, glorifies, incites, or calls for violence or physical harm against individuals or groups of people, they said. The statement continued, we're constantly evaluating ways to improve our detection and removal of this content, including through enhanced image hashing systems, and we will continue to review the communities on our platform to ensure that they are upholding the rules. In a statement to ABC News, a YouTube spokesperson expressed their deepest sympathies for the victims and the families of the Tops shooting. Through the years, YouTube has invested in technology, teams, and policies to identify and remove extremist content. It's because of these assholes that we get... how shall I say, censored? Because this is what they hide behind. Oh, we have to protect people from this kind of shit. Therefore, if you are spouting something that may be considered a right-wing ideology or... You know what? Well, no, because I don't think I've actually seen a left-winger get banned over their ideology or spouting their beliefs on YouTube. So, this is the shield that they're given to censor free speech because morons go and do this shit. The judge... hang on. Where are we? While we disagree with today's decision and will be appealing, we will continue to work with law enforcement and other platforms and civil society to share intelligence and best practices. The judge's decision came just weeks after she denied motions to dismiss from the gun store Vintage Farms LLC and gun part manufacturer Mean Arms, two other defendants in the case. Everytown Law, the anti-gun violence advocacy group, claims that Mean Arms manufactured a gun lock that provided a fake veneer of compliance with the New York gun laws, and that Vintage Firearms LLC sold him an illegal AR-style rifle. I kind of want to read their complaint, but we have a lot to get through today, and that's just not going to cut it. The complaint claims that RMA Armament, the third defendant in the case, equipped the shooter with combat-grade body armor without reasonable vetting. Vintage Firearms LLC owner Robert Donald pointed to ABC News to a statement on their online fundraiser, which claimed that the lawsuits are politically motivated. No shit, you think? What was illegal about the AR? It's a damn good question, Steve. I have no clue. AR style, what the F does that mean? Yep. All right. The real motive behind the lawsuits like this is clear: to bankrupt gun dealers so that law-abiding citizens do not have access to firearms, a statement read. Rather than placing the blame on Gendron, the individual who was personally responsible for the horrific crimes, politically motivated organizations have chosen to use this tragedy to pursue gun control through the courts. ABC News reached out to Mean Arms LLC and RMA Armament for comment on the lawsuit. Oh no, body armor. Cops own it, so do I. Yep. I was actually trying to see if I could find the complaint on this because I don't want to. Hang on, where is it? No, that's just the link there. That's every trigger lock, pretty much. I'm not going to play the whole 12 minutes of this.
Buffalo is one of the most segregated urban centers in the United States, and the
What? Like, don't get me wrong, it might be true, but how? I thought this was supposed to be about the... Okay, no, it's about the shooting. Okay. Never mind. We're going to move on. Because we're going to go from one infuriating thing that's going to annoy Jason to another, which is cops love immunity until they're the ones being abused by police. An ATF agent is suing after he was roughed up by local officers, but he'd be immune from lawsuits if the roles were reversed thanks to qualified immunity. Original reporting and analysis straight from Washington to... Oh. Screw you, Daily Beast. They put that in there like it's part of the news article. I was just promoting you to sign up to their email. The only thing that was illegal with the gun was that it had a higher capacity mag than the law allowed. Okay. There is absolutely no reasonable position against body armor. I wouldn't think so. Patrol officers took no chances when they confronted a man claiming to be a federal agent in Dublin, Ohio, a small city about 20 miles north of Columbus. They drew their weapons first and asked questions later. Uh-oh. Segregated Buffalo, if anything, it's self-segregated. Body camera footage, which is there, which I meant to open, captures the rapidly escalating standoff from the summer of 2020. After shouting contradictory commands at the man and forcing him onto the ground at gunpoint, two officers tased and handcuffed him. They then put him, still restrained, into the back of a patrol car. My words are not working. 1 second. More caffeine. Here we go. Still restrained in the back of the patrol car for more than an hour while they checked his story, which turned out to be true. The detainee was James Burke, a special agent with the ATF, following up on a tip about an illegally owned gun. But because Burke did not don a uniform or carry a warrant, a woman at the condominium he came to called 911 instead of opening the door. When officers arrived, Burke identified himself as a federal agent and explained that his badge was in his pocket, but both officers were not persuaded. Who cares if you are persuaded? Either reach into the pocket and pull it out yourself, or allow him to do so. My nephew told me I should get a gun. I told him I want an AR. Nice. 6 months after the incident, Burke filed a civil rights lawsuit against the acting officers from the Columbus Division of Police. Predictably, Burke now finds himself on the wrong end of the judge-made doctrine called qualified immunity. The doctrine, which the United States Supreme Court invented in 1982, shields government employees from accountability for unreasonable actions unless victims can point to a prior case in the same jurisdiction that clearly establishes the behaviour as unconstitutional. The irony of this case is that the law enforcement officers like Burke normally love qualified immunity. We know this. They were looking to extend qualified immunity to civilians here. In certain circumstances, they were going to make it so that, and let me be perfectly blunt here, women that made accusations against men had qualified immunity. That effectively had the same thing as qualified immunity. So if they made a false allegation, they were immune from any actions against them. Now, I understand that you need to balance the whole, well, the victims want to be protected versus whatever else, but at the same time, that's just dangerous. Told him I didn't want the person to get close enough to me for a pistol to work. That's fair. The federal government learned this is why you don't give out immunity all willy-nilly. The National Association of Police Organisations says qualified immunity is essentially for officers to do their jobs. Without it, the orderly administration of justice will come to a halt amidst paralysing fear of liability. How about you just do your job within the confines of its boundaries? You don't need to necessarily faceplant someone to the ground. I mean, if it's warranted, then great, you're going to be vindicated. You're going to be exonerated from having committed any acts if you acted reasonably in the circumstances. Qualified immunity, all it is a blanket protection and a blanket warrant for them to act inappropriately. Yes, they should be thinking about, are my actions appropriate at this given time in this instance? One police department in New Hampshire even advertised qualified immunity as a job perk for new recruits in 2021. I'm sorry, what now? Who wouldn't want to avoid consequences for workplace wrongdoings and willful incompetence? Either immunity is necessary for government officials to do their jobs, as police groups argue, or immunity undermines the rule of law, which requires one set of rules for everybody. That's my position on it. The perks for federal officers are even greater. They receive near absolute immunity no matter how outrageous their behaviour. A Department of Homeland Security agent even dodged civil penalties after he attempted to shoot and kill Kevin Bird, a Texas man who asked questions about a drunk driving incident involving the agent's son. I vaguely remember that. A public interest law firm, the Institute for Justice, represented Bird when he petitioned the US Supreme Court to consider his case. The justices declined. Instead of reigning in government immunity, they continue to solidify and expand it. In June 22, the Supreme Court all but ruled that the federal officials can never be sued for violating the Constitution. Police groups celebrated the decision, which cut off the only path of justice available to civil rights victims. Rogue officers can still face criminal prosecution or internal discipline, but that does nothing to provide a remedy to those who experience government misconduct. Even if they did it, such discipline is rarely taken. Law enforcement agencies are notoriously bad at policing themselves. No shit, you think? Yeah, we investigated and we determined that we did nothing wrong. Law enforcement agencies are notoriously bad at policing themselves. For instance, Burke kept his job at the ATF as an ATF agent after he was charged with shoplifting wine from an Ohio grocery store in 2015. Now the two-tiered justice system could work against Burke as he learns what it means to be the plaintiff against a government defendant. Already, the police officers he is suing have raised the qualified immunity as an affirmative defense, which means a judge could excuse them from liability even if he proves they violated his constitutional rights. Many victims of the government abuse know the frustration, but Burke's situation comes with a twist. As a federal agent, he is trying to sue local officers for misconduct, yet he would enjoy absolute immunity for himself if their roles were reversed. Burke cannot have it both ways. Accountability either matters or it doesn't. Either immunity is necessary for government officials to do their jobs, as police argue, or it undermines the rule of law, which requires one set of rules for everyone. Even though our nation is premised on the idea that first come rights, then comes the government, all too often it is not until someone is lying face down on the pavement in handcuffs that they understand the importance of the constitutional protections. Immunity doctrines must end if constitutional rights are to mean anything. If a federal agent with a badge in his pocket can face excessive force, then have his efforts of accountability stymied, what chance do the rest of us have? Abso-friggin-lutely. 10 rounds sucks. That is my SKS, or at least the one I lost in a tragic boating accident. Absolutely tragic. No, I maintain that qualified immunity should never have been a thing. Either it's the whole... There are certain individuals in society that are required to be held to a higher standard. That includes, well, frankly, lawyers, because we have to hold ourselves to a higher standard because our paramount duty is to the court for honesty, decency, and clemency. What did I shoot while I was in Texas? Ooh, now I've got to remember. Um, see, I took notes and I wrote it down, and now for the life of me, I can't remember. What was it? Glock 17. I know I know I fired an AR. I can't remember what type it was. I might have to ask Marty actually. Qualified immunity and civil immunity abominations. Yes. Is Steve's knife missing too? No, I think they found that. I believe that was located at a crime scene. No, but I've got to try and remember what it was. There was a handgun that I fired, and because it was solid steel, and the way that the slide moved, it kicked backwards instead of up, and I was a significantly better shot with that. And I want to try and remember what that is so I can try and have a go at that again when I What did you shoot in Texas? I thought you were going to say illegals. Now, see, and that raises an interesting thing too as well, because, hang on, where am I? That raises an interesting point, because everyone's up in arms that all of a sudden the courts have ruled that the Second Amendment applies to illegal immigrants. Now, I know that that's a problem, because I've been railing against the whole situation with Texas and whatever else, and the border, and the fact that it's very clear that the Democrats are trying to bring in as many people as they can so they can entrench a single party. But the thing you've got to remember is that the Constitution applies to pretty much everybody that sets foot on American soil. I was impressed to learn that the second that I landed in LAX, there were certain rules that applied to me as well. I liked that. There was a reason that I only had to provide a copy of my passport to be able to go to that gun range. And I'm starting to think that maybe, just maybe, that's part of the plan. Is that maybe, just maybe, the stream of illegals coming over the border is to force constitutional amendment. Now, I know that that's a long game, and I know that that is a massive call. But think of it this way. You flood the country with illegal immigrants. We know that a whole bunch of Venezuelan prisoners and undesirables from a number of countries are being forced in, because key to what rights are allowed by whom, check whether the Constitution says persons or people, then everything is covered. If it says citizen, then it's citizens only. Yeah. Since they're an illegal immigrant, does that invalidate their background check? I would expect so, yeah. Nothing applies to illegal. Surely you have to be a citizen. No, I'm not. I am not sure. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Well, Coke Fairy, as Steve just said, it depends on the wording. I'm not well enough versed, and I will fully admit that, to go into a constitutional, lesson. We are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. So sorry to derail. Look what I just sent you. Breaking story. Oh no, what you sent me, Stingy? Yeah, that's literally what I was just talking about. So you know what? We can talk about this. But that's not really derailing it if I'm already talking about it. No, I'm good. Undocumented immigrants have a right to own guns, according to a judge. A judge this month dropped gun charges against an illegal immigrant in Illinois, sparking further debate about the rights associated with the Second Amendment. This is what I was talking about when I said I think this may be a tangential goal. Because if all of a sudden everyone across America is up in arms because illegal immigrants have rights to the Second Amendment, you can't tell me that the left isn't going to try and stir up enough shit to get people to consent to amending it. Even if it's not a goal, even if it's not a plan, it's not a unreasonable, it's not an unforeseeable possibility. And that's terrifying. Since Stingy sent you something, should you not play the video you made for him? I would, but I've got that in StreamYard, not in Streamlabs. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. People equals everyone, not just citizens. Oh, there you go. There you go. Steve. Thank you. Steve. Came in with the clutch there. Got to call attention to Steve's statement regarding his knife. It's worth noting. Oh no, I saw that. I just... He knows exactly where the K-bar is, just can't admit it due to Fifth Amendment concerns. Does this mean background checks are illegal? Personally, I don't believe so, but I would defer to someone with more Second Amendment experience than that. Just move along. No, I know, Stingy. Stingy, this is literally the news article that I was talking about, and thank you for sending it through to me. You did good, buddy. Cheers. All right. The U.S. District Judge Sharon Coleman, that name's familiar. Of the Northern District of Illinois, referenced lower court rulings in dismissing firearm possession charges against Heriberto Carbajal Flores, who was illegally or unlawfully in the United States when he possessed a handgun in the Little Village neighborhood of Chicago on June 1, 2020. Excuse me. The court finds that the defendant's criminal record containing no improper use of a weapon, as well as the non-violent circumstances of his arrest, do not support a finding that he poses a risk to public safety, such that he cannot be trusted to use a weapon responsibly and should be deprived of his Second Amendment right to bear arms in self-defense. Coleman, who was appointed under President Barack Obama, wrote in her 8-page ruling on March 8. Background checks fall under well-regulated part. Felon or minors cannot legally possess. Well, there you go. I know it's a little conspiratorial, but this is this is making more and more sense to me, and it's hitting me more and more in the back of the head. I'm starting to feel like this is if they haven't thought about it, well, I mean, if it wasn't a goal, someone's thought about it as a tangential result. The defendant was charged under Title 18 of the U.S. Criminal Code, which legally disallows undocumented individuals to possess firearms and ammunition, or to receive any firearm or ammunition which has been shipped or transported in interstate or foreign commerce. The defendant, who contended the firearm was possessed for self-defense and protection of property during a time of documented civil unrest in the spring of 2020, has never been convicted of a felony, a violent crime, or a crime involving the use of a weapon. There were a myriad of protests across the nation in the spring following the May 25 killing of George Floyd by Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, who was later sentenced to 21 years in prison. So they're actually using that as an excuse too. Media's trying to create a wedge issue between concern for illegal immigration and the Second Amendment. Don't fall for the bait, folks. This is very true, Steve. The defendant had consistently adhered to and fulfilled all the stipulated conditions of his release, the ruling says, adding that he is gainfully employed and has no new arrests or outstanding warrants. The court previously denied 2 motions by the defendant to dismiss the charges. The first time was on April 13, 2022, and the second on December 19, 2022, about 6 months after the US Supreme Court voted 6-3 to strike down the 100-year-old New York law requiring individuals show proper cause to get a license to carry a firearm outside a home, stemming from the 22 ruling in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association and Braun. I could have just said Braun. That ruling, which was brought to the High Court after a challenge by the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association and gun owners Brandon Koch and Robert Nash. We hold that when the Second Amendment plain text covers the individual's conduct, the Constitution presumptively protects that conduct, said Justice Clarence Thomas in the court's majority opinion. To justify its regulation, the government may not simply posit that the regulation promotes an important interest. Rather, the government must demonstrate that the regulation is consistent with the nation's historic tradition of firearm regulation. By doing some research, it looks like sentenced El Chapo's son. Maybe that's why you know her name. Maybe. I'm against illegal aliens in the country, but I'm surprisingly agreeing with an Obama judge on a Second Amendment issue. Well, see, that's just it. I mean, yeah, rightly, it's open to everybody. So what they're going to try to do, in my opinion, is stir up enough controversy to try and have the Second Amendment amended or removed. I mean, I don't think they'll get a removal over the line, but it's certainly enough that certain demographics could be pushed. And I mean, if you're looking at people that'll get pushed over the line, anyway. I'm being very careful here because I don't want to say certain things. So, where are we? In May 23, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in favor of gun control advocates in Illinois and denied a request for an emergency injunction against the state's ban on the sale and new possession of semi-automatic firearms. The request was made by the NAGR, National Association for Gun Rights. Yep. In response to the Illinois governor signing legislation enacting a statewide ban on assault-style weapons, including limits on magazine capacities. Those who are here illegally cannot possess a firearm of any kind that is obtained in an illegal fashion, said political commentator Jay Oliver. There is a civil duty of gun shop owners, if by that route, to lawfully indemnify those who try to obtain weaponry of their choice by cutting corners. Unfortunately, we've seen too many trends where innocent lives have been lost upon a progressive nature of those in charge of the courts and the opinions. What? Fairness rating. What would I say that this article was? I would say this one's reasonably fair, if I'm honest. I mean, I don't think they needed to bring up Floyd, but mostly fair with left-leaning. There we go. At least I'm being honest with them. So, because I mean, that's really what it boils down to. It's either everybody has the right to bear arms, or they're going to push the issue. What's so dumb about all this, too, is aren't guns only able to be carried by permit in Illinois, so they can't get permits? Well, there is that, yeah. So, where was I? I finished the qualified immunity. Oh, right. You have the footage. So these are the two officers that decide to arrest and tase the ATF officer.
Let me see your hands. Turn around, let me see your hands. Okay, let me see your hands. I need to see.
Identifying yourself as a federal fucking agent is probably not the best way to start this.
Some ID, get on the ground! Get on the ground now!
Although, let's be fair. Hang on, I'm going to turn the closed captions on. Hopefully out of the way of that. And I might speed this up as well, I think. They didn't need to jump to guns drawn either.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground now!
I'm a federal agent.
917-110-3.
I'm a federal agent.
Get on the ground!
I'm a federal agent.
Why wouldn't you show me your ID when I got here? Don't move forward.
You didn't ask for it. You didn't ask for it.
That's true. We're all of 40 seconds in. The guy's identified himself as a federal agent, and you haven't said, well, show me your badge or anything like that. You went straight to pulling your gun. The ATF just learned that this is the way they teach cops. Mm-hmm. They should have just opened fire when he says federal agent. Jesus, Jared. Can you carry guns on things like airplanes then as surely as if you have the right to bear arms? Something I always wondered. Yeah, low roll, that's what we were talking about earlier. We were talking about the qualified immunity argument and the fact that if the roles were reversed, he'd have complete immunity against them.
On the ground, we'll figure it out.
Get on the ground and we'll figure it out. Notice how he's adjusted himself to almost completely cover the body camera as well.
Fine. Why do you gotta make this harder than it is?
Listen, I'm not getting.
I have no problem making this.
You have no problem making it what?
You're the overreacting.
I'm not overreacting. We gotta.
I would argue you are. You literally rolled up on a federal agent, pulled your gun, and said, "Get on the ground."
Call that someone's impersonating a police officer out here who doesn't have ID.
No kidding, because she doesn't want to open.
Okay, get on the ground so I can find out who you are.
It ain't happening.
Okay, fine, fine.
Okay, to be fair, in that instance, he's refusing a reasonable direction, I suppose. Turnabout's fair play. I mean, whether or not this is reasonable is one thing, but I mean, he's literally said, no, it ain't happening. It ain't happening.
Do you find I think I'm a police officer or something? What the heck's the matter with you? Who do you think you are? Get on the ground!
I'm not getting out of here. I'm not getting out of here. Pulling up. I got my ID.
Do not reach for your waist! Keep your hands up! Keep your hands up!
Sir! Don't argue! Face down! On the ground! Face down! Now! Face down!
You guys are making a big mistake.
Fine, we'll settle that second. Settle that. Face down! Now! All the way down! All the way! all the way.
You got my IDs right here, left pocket. Left.
And we're going to put your arm on your back,
Wait
sir.
a second. Do not resist.
I'm not resisting.
You're acting like a moron.
Wait a second.
Stop.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Don't do this. Wait a second. I got a medical condition. Get my license out of my pocket.
We're getting you secured.
Please, please, wait.
I mean, I know that he's not technically one of their own, but they probably should have taken the all. You kind of with the cops on this. I'm not. I'll be perfectly honest. He was a dick, but I don't like the way that this is being handled.
No, whoa. Hold on. I'm hyperventilating. Please. Wait, please, sir. I'm not. Stop resisting.
Would you
now.
please get my ID out of my left pocket?
Stop
I'm begging
resisting.
you. My wife's pregnant. Please. It's
Stop
right here.
resisting.
Please get it.
got
Wait,
one cuff on.
sir, help me up. Just hold me up. Sir, I can't do it. Wait. Sir,
Stop resisting now.
please help me. Sir, please get my
Taser.
my federal creds.
Get your taser out, Dylan.
No, don't do that, please. Sir,
Don't make me tase you. You're going to get tased. Put your right
No.
arm behind your back.
Okay.
Put your right arm behind
Help
your
me
back
up.
now. No.
Help me up.
No, you're going to stay on the ground and put your right arm behind your back.
Let me breathe. Let me breathe.
You can
I'm
breathe
gonna.
just fine.
I'm gonna. Ow! Don't do that. Okay. Here. My God.
Get him cuffed.
It is cuffed. Please stop.
Get him cuffed.
Please stop, sir. Wait a second. Sir, please help me up. Please.
Fed should have known better. Yeah, look, don't get me wrong. Like I said, he was a dick. I'm still not okay with this. It's just like I wouldn't be okay if he was not an officer. I think that they've been overly forceful, and given that this entire thing could have been sorted out within 30 seconds, and that they then place him in the back of a cruiser and leave him there for an hour after having tased him, no. The locals should find the arrest video. Should find every arrest video this moron's been involved in. How hard is it to detain someone, get the cuffs on them is ridiculous. We need a better solution. Being a dick is not against the law. Yeah, I agree.
I'm a federal agent. My God, my gun, my
You have
pistol.
no idea what you are, acting the way you are.
Sir,
Who the heck do you think you are acting like
nobody. I wanted you to see my goddamn creds. The lady was freaking out, for Christ's sake. Oh. Sir, please. Please. My God. Sir.
Roll over, sit up.
It's in my goddamn
Sit up,
shoulder, my
sit up.
creds.
Let him sit up, let him
I
sit up.
showed her my goddamn creds, for Christ's sake. Right there, left pocket. Left pocket, cargo pocket. Please take it out.
Don't try and
Guys,
sit
I
up.
get it. I fucking get it.
Then you should have
Why
behaved
would you
the way
act the way you did.
What's the
I
matter
wanted
with
you
you?
to see my creds, for Christ's sake. My God, I'm here to fucking talk
No,
to
you're the one that's in the wrong.
Sir.
Oh no, everybody's
You
in
know
the
if
wrong
you
in
have
this
interaction with
situation.
police, you obey commands.
Sir, I was trying to
No,
get
you didn't obey any command.
Sir, I'm with you guys, for Christ's sake. I'm a fucking federal agent.
Who's your supervisor? What's his name? What's your supervisor's name?
Hang on a second. The SAC is currently John McPherson, who's on his way out to retire, who will soon be rolling.
I took the mag out.
My God. This is crazy.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Stand up. I'm
Stand
not
up.
trying to be ashamed of myself.
Come on, sit
I
back in
just
the
want you
cruiser.
to say, let me see
Get in the
your
car.
creds.
Get in the car.
Sir, please.
You gotta see the back of the cruiser.
My God. Sir, I'm just trying to do my goddamn
Just get in
job.
the car. Why would you make us do this?
I didn't want you to. I wanted to. Wait.
Hold on, he's holding, hold him. I'm knocking the door. Relax. Hold him.
Hey, guys, please, just talk to me for 1 second.
This was just ridiculous all around. I mean, yes, he was a dick. He refused a direct command from an officer. This just goes to show that even when there's a contention that they're going to act in the same way. I mean, I would shudder to think what would happen if this was if this was just a regular citizen. Even their own policy wasn't followed, yet they were trying to say they did nothing wrong. Mm-hmm.
Please get in the car.
No,
We'll
wait.
talk later.
Sir, wait.
You had your chance.
No, I was trying to give you my creds. You didn't let me show them to you.
Once tried.
I did.
Get in there. Have a seat.
Wait,
Now. Have a seat.
Please, wait. I gotta breathe.
Okay,
Please,
you
sir, let me
sit
breathe.
down and breathe.
Let me breathe. I have a medical condition.
We're gonna get air to you. Get
No,
your legs
no.
in. Get your legs in. We're closing this door.
Sir,
Get your legs in.
170. We
I
have
need
a
air.
squad rolling. This guy's calling me
sir,
having
please,
breathing
call an
problems.
ambulance. I'm asking
I
for
just
an
did.
Got a
2
medic
seconds
coming.
ago.
Get in the car.
ambulance. I don't need the taser didn't.
You just said call an ambulance. We don't need a medic.
Now you don't want one.
Get
All
in
the way in the car. Get all
Sir,
the way
I
in.
can't
Go
breathe.
around.
Wait, sir.
All the way in. Push the seat all the
No,
way in.
sir, I'm begging you.
Get all the way in.
See, now that they know that in all likelihood he is an officer and that he was not actually impersonating an officer or anything like that. I mean, look, yes, they would need to check, they would need to contact the supervisor, all that sort of stuff. But now that there is a higher likelihood that he was just doing his job, this is like more icky to me. It's still funny trying to do my job, but they thought they're doing the same thing. So if they'd have looked at each other and tased the lady, it would have been a sitcom, quite possibly.
Wait, how did this happen? Okay. Get in.
For crying out loud, you're a cop, you're not an ass.
No, wait, I can't. You're fucking my head up. The seatbelt's in place. Please. What the fuck? Why would you act like this? I didn't act any. Oh. Please, sir, if you are a police officer, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. I'm trying to give you my creds.
Guns up.
Sir, I'm trying to give you my creds. Sir.
It's on your dash. Secure in your vehicle. Secure the gun in your vehicle.
Please call my supervisor. Please call.
Oh no, he was saying secure the gun in your vehicle. I was thinking, what? He left his handgun behind? What the fuck?
John McPherson.
We have our supervisor on the way. We'll let him handle it.
Didn't the XS use that as an excuse, just following orders, just doing my job? Yeah.
Please call my supervisor, guys.
My sergeant's on the way. He's going to take care of it.
I mean, seriously, guys. Hey, sir. I didn't mean to get you worked up, but you.
That's sort of what I'm feeling like. This has gone beyond, like, did YouTube nuke your content? Don't think so. Don't think so. Still seems to be there. At
When you
least I
get a
can
gun
see
pointed in
it.
your face by a cop, you don't get to argue. You don't get to argue. You don't get to argue.
Wait, what? What did you just say?
When you get a gun pointed in your face by a cop, you get to argue.
When you get a gun pointed at your face by a cop,
You don't get to argue.
You don't get to. I'm sorry. What now? I'm sorry. What? If a cop points a gun in your face, you don't get to argue. You just do what you're told. I seem to recall that you don't have to follow unlawful commands. I mean, don't get me wrong. In this instance, I think it was a lawful direction initially, but he probably should have pulled out his badge and shown it to them in the first place. But this is. I'm not going to watch the whole rest of this because this is just. Where's the supervisors?
I'm going to use my computer.
Okay. We got it. Never mind.
He's going to run on mine. It's fine.
You got the camera going?
Yeah. When we actually came together, you knocked mine
I
off.
saw yours go fine. I wasn't sure it was. Mine should be still working.
That's why I told you to go for yours.
I would think we were going to get him, but that was the only way to get him. We had to trust him. He was strong. So his supervisor did it. That's the way he acted. It's all on video.
He's got a good-looking badge and ID.
He very well may be. But you know what? When a woman police officer, yeah. I know.
Yeah, way to make themselves feel better. Oh, it doesn't matter if he's got a good-looking badge or ID.
I said, you obviously don't know what's going on. If he's here to work a warrant by himself, there's something strange about that.
No, well, that's the reason that we're here talking about this, Brian, is that there's no point in them suing the department because they have qualified immunity. They have if they breach your rights, they have a basically get out of jail free card. So that's why I'm not okay with this. But anyway, I have spent way too long on this compared to what I was going to. So anyway. Screaming crocodile handler nearly loses his genitals after a 15-foot beast runs out of patience and clamps his jaws around him in front of a horrified set of theme park. In front of visitors. Why am I don't know. A shocked crocodile handler came within an inch of losing his manhood when a 15-foot beast bit him between the legs after being poked with a stick in his enclosure. The experienced reptile expert was giving a display to dozens of visitors at the crocodile-themed park just north of Durban in South Africa when he was viciously attacked. The Nile crocodile, the largest living reptile with the most powerful bite force in the world, suddenly whipped its head around and clamped its jaws on him. The shocked handler shrieked as he saw the predator latch onto him just below his waist and pull him to the ground as a second slightly smaller croc ran over to join. Horrified tourists screamed for help as the giant croc kept the handler pinned down, but he managed to stand and the beast with its 64 teeth released, allowing him to run to safety. You want to know what not to do? Everything in this picture is what not to do. Like, it's Force's perspective, but I'm willing to bet that he's a lot closer to that croc than I certainly would be. Especially in that... So from around here to around here is probably what we would call the bite zone. It's slightly larger out front because the crocs can push off and move straight forward in... Like, they can lunge, sort of thing. And it's a little bit more difficult when it has to sort of turn its head around and come at you from the side, but he is still well within strike distance there. So, that's just stupid. Footage taken from onlookers captures the moment that the handler was thrashed about the enclosure at the attraction in Balito in KwaZulu-Natal province. He is said to have sustained a serious leg injury and was rushed to Victoria Hospital to have urgent stitches. A tourist who witnessed the attack told emergency services who raced to help him that the handler had both his hands on his groin and he quipped, "Don't hold 'em, count 'em." Ew. A crocodile expert, who was asked not to be named but viewed the footage, said the croc was just giving him a warning. If he'd wanted to kill him, then trust me, it could have easily. Where he was extremely lucky is that the second crocodile didn't rush in. That rushed in did not bite him as if it had then. That could have fought him in a tug of war and torn him apart. Looks like it was the handler's lucky day and the croc was just a bit grumpy. Okay, that's just teeth marks, that's fine. Alright, let's go to the tape. Trigger warning. Wait, why is that not playing? What the? Why ever the hell that didn't work, I'm never going to know. Then the park would have charged tourists extra for the unscheduled event. See? Idiot. Poking it with a stick, well within striking distance. That croc's getting pissed off. Wait for it. Here it comes. He is well within striking distance there too. Like, that's not even, like... He's closer than I thought he was initially. Fucking moron is all I've got to say. Do they have teeth that are angled outwards? No, not so much. They sort of curve in towards, but it depends whether or not some of them are, because you can have some that jut out at different angles. No, we didn't get to see much, which is probably for the best. But trying to find a video of it on Twitter. I think that's about as close as we can get to it, because they didn't actually even show the second croc coming in. So yeah, that's literally feck around and find out. Did we talk about shaving pussies yet? No, not yet. We're getting to that. Because that's part of the Aussie animals segment, which we're getting to, which I actually probably should have started with this now that I think about it. Where are we? Florida man arrested for touching himself and groping an EMS paramedic during transport. A Florida man was arrested last week after he allegedly touched an EMS paramedic inappropriately while he was being taken to hospital. According to the arrest report obtained by NBC affiliate WBBH, police were called to the Cancer Center Alliance of Naples after they received multiple reports that a man refused to leave the building and locked himself in the bathroom. When police arrived, they found a 34-year-old in the bathroom standing next to a pile of paper towels. They say that he had been reportedly complaining about foot pain and claimed that he'd been bitten by a bug. Collier County EMS arrived to take him to the Comprehensive Health Downtown Hospital for treatment. However, the staff did not allow the 34-year-old to enter due to disorderly and destructive behaviour. The arrest report shows that the officers saw him strapped in... What? Officers saw him strapped into a stretcher with a noticeably erect penis showing through his basketball shorts. Wait. Is this actually his fault, though? Is this what that bug that bites you and gives you like an erection for 96 hours or something? The report goes on that Day was touching himself inappropriately while the EMS paramedic took his blood. The paramedic told him to stop, take his hands out of his pants, and that's when he attempted to reach for the victim's legs. The victim said, "Do not touch me." Day looked into their eyes and continued touching himself inappropriately and also touched the victim's upper thigh. The victim grabbed his hand and repeated, "Do not touch me." Notice how it doesn't specify whether or not the victim was male or female? According to WBBH, a Naples Fire Department lieutenant saw the interaction and stated that Day continued to try and touch the victim by removing a medical equipment and even unbuckled himself from the stretcher. While he was on his way to the jail center, Day managed to move his handcuffed hands from his back to his front and unbuckled his seatbelt. I'm sorry, what? Houdini managed to get his handcuffs around the front to... What? He was booked into the jail where he was charged with battery on unspecified personnel. A man has spontaneously told police officers where a body was located during a traffic stop. Because, you know, when officers pull you over, you need to tell them everything. No, you say, I'm not answering any questions. No, I'm not talking about my day. I'm not telling you where I'm going. Am I free to go? Am I under arrest? Australia even has screaming crocodiles. How do you handle a screaming crocodile? They don't scream so much as just... was he on the Super Viagra that the guy in Australia in the Hungry Jack's drive-thru was on? I have no idea. Natchez Police Department Commander Jerry Ford says officers pulled over a driver of a small pickup truck and detained him after seeing drug paraphernalia in the truck. After the driver was detained at the scene, he told officers something spontaneously that immediately got their attention. The suspect at that time stated he had information about a corpse in the nearby area. Ford says officers immediately called for backup. We came out and went off into the woods maybe 10 feet and discovered that there was a dead corpse. The guy high on drugs knew where the corpse was, and it was within 10 feet of where he got pulled over. I'm not even sure how to handle that. Ford says the body had been there for quite some time and that all was left was the victim's skeleton, but the head was missing from the rest of the body. We really don't want to speculate as to what his role is or what he knows or doesn't know, but we're basically just sticking to the facts of this particular one at the time, trying to see where it's going to lead to, he said. Ford said no previous missing persons reports have been filed that could have potentially tied to the victim's identity. The remains were sent to the Mississippi State Crime Lab for an autopsy and investigated. Could have been a living corpse, could have been worse. Well, I mean, it's missing its head, so... Investigators will continue to work the case. So they're not even going to be able to identify it.
Into officers discovering skeletal remains off the side of the road. 3 News Side's Joseph Doering spoke with the city's police commander. He joins us now to tell you what he learned. Joseph.
Yeah, Maggie, Natchez PD Commander Jerry Ford says Thursday was just like any other night or any other traffic stop for 2 of his officers. That is, until the driver they ended up detaining for drug paraphernalia said he knew of a dead body that was just within feet of where they were standing.
How high have you got to be? Yo, dude, you know there's a body right there, dude?
Around 8:30 Thursday night, Natchez Police...
I'm pretty sure you've got more important things to do than pulling me over. There's a body right there, dude.
Police Department Commander Jerry Ford says 2 of his officers pulled over an individual at the intersection of Sergeant Prentice Drive and Fatherland Road.
The officer who was backing up went up to the driver door, made contact with the driver, and noticed paraphernalia inside his vehicle.
What seemed to be business as usual for the officers quickly changed once the detained driver opened his mouth.
The suspect at that time stated to him that he had information about a corpse in the nearby area.
In the event that what the detainees said was true, Commander Ford says the officers immediately called for backup.
We came out and actually went off in the woods about maybe 10 feet and discovered that there was a dead corpse.
This map shows you just how close the body was from the initial traffic stop, and Commander Ford says the body...
Your accent's quite good and disconcerting to hear in your voice. It was a Highlander coming for the latest battle. All I was doing was making fun of Crush from Finding Nemo.
So. Body had been there for quite some time. so long that all that could be recovered was the victim's bones, which he says have now been sent to the state crime lab for a proper autopsy. But the question of how the detainee knew about the body, as well as its specific location, remain under investigation.
He'd probably gone out there to smoke before.
As to what his role is or what he know or don't know, but we're just basically sticking to the facts at this particular time, trying to see where it's going to lead to.
Now, Commander Ford told me that no recent missing persons cases have been filed with his department and that officers are currently investigating what exactly happened to the victim until an autopsy comes back to assist in this case. In the newsroom, Joseph Doering, 3 on your side.
Jeez Louise. I mean, seriously. Some things you don't expect. So, shit, where are we? All right. So this is good. For those of you that aren't into gaming, just bear with me because I've got 2 news stories I'm just going to quickly run through. Because apparently I'll get more out of this and I'll be more entertaining to you guys if I'm also making content that is good for me. So, you know, if there's things that I want to know about, then, you know, I'll be a little bit more passionate about it. So why is that still up? There we go. World of Warcraft is getting a Battle Royale mode. No, seriously. I'm sorry, why? World of Warcraft is bringing pirate-themed Battle Royale-inspired gameplay to the Aranthi Highlands in the form of the Plunder Storm, the newest limited-time event available to all active players as of today. The event comes as part of Dragonflight's update, which will give players the chance to get on fast-paced action to collect plunder and earn rewards in both modern and classic World of Warcraft. The Plunder Storm event is described as lead software engineer Orlando Salvatore as a big departure from what they normally do. No shit. The event will offer both solo and dual play and a separate character screen to join pre-match lobby area for ease of access, while leaning heavily into the Battle Royale style aspects that break all rules of typical WoW gameplay. Will allow players to progress through the renowned track known as the Keg Leg Crew up to renown 40 to earn rewards, including a Parrot Mount, Pirate Pepe Pet, and Transmog. Okay. But what does it look like? Do you have gameplay? No, apparently not. WoW is still a thing? Yeah. So old I used to play it when I was younger. I mean, I haven't played World of Warcraft in a good... probably looking at 15 years. I downloaded it a while ago and I was like, yeah, maybe I should have a crack at playing this and see what's new and what's interesting and that sort of thing. And never got around to it. So, okay, but this one I thought was more interesting. Players have been hacked during the matches of Apex Legends Global Series tournament, and the tournament's been suspended. I saw the video of this yesterday, and I was cackling. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a horrible thing to happen to anybody. These guys were playing online during a tournament. Someone hacked into their computers and gave them aimbot. They turned cheats on for these guys so that they'd be disqualified from the tournament. On Sunday, 2 competitive esports players were hacked while participating in the Apex Legends Global Series tournament. EA postponed the North American finals of the Apex Legends Global Series tournament after 2 competitive esports players were hacked. The Apex Legends Global Series is the premier esports tournament for Apex Legends. It's a year-long circuit where top players from around the world compete for prize money and glory. Glory! Used to love WoW, but when they upgraded to Mrs. Pandaria and all my top-level characters got nerfed, I cut it cold turkey. Fair enough. TechCrunch reported that 2 different players during separate matches suddenly gained cheats. Wait, what the fuck? I'm getting hacked. I'm getting hacked, bro. I'm getting hacked. This is the footage.
On my ping. I knocked him there.
Yep.
Wait, what the fuck?
Don't worry about it.
I'm getting hacked. But
I know, sure. Can you play the game?
Bro, I'm getting hacked.
I know, but can you play it?
Yeah, but it's cheating. The fuck?
I know, sure. I know. What?
Like what?
No, but is it fucking up your game?
Yes, I can see everyone. Like
You need to leave.
I didn't leave the game, right? Yeah, I'm leaving. Like what the?
Admin's down. Nick, admin's down.
So someone not only put ESP, which is extrasensory perception, on so that he could see where all players were, which is a distinct advantage and a massive... seems like an immature and petty thing to do. Yeah. It's rather funny if true, lol. Well, when you think about it, though, it's like it says here, it's $1 billion esport. So, they really screw around with it. In the video, it was clear that Jen Burton was able to see all other players highlighted on the map, even those hidden behind obstacles such as walls, called the wall hack. During the match video, 1 minute 59, he suddenly displayed a cheat tool called TSM Halal Hook. Okay. PSA, there's currently an RCE exploit being abused in play aspect in Apex Legends. It's unsure whether it comes from the game or the actual anti-cheat. I would advise against playing any games protected by EAC, Easy Anti-Cheat, or any EA titles once they've fixed this, they can comment. Some more information, the cheat was injected into the streamer's PC. It had a checkbox called Vote Putin. That's funny. Taking a look at the cheat on the left panel screen, it's possible to see a message from the hacker. Apex Hacking Global Series by Destroyer 2009 and Random. Huh. The organisers of the tournament suspended the matches and postponed the tournament because the competitive integrity of the series was compromised. According to the Anti-Cheat Police Department, the threat actors exploited a remote code execution vulnerability to hack into the players' clients. It is unclear if the flaw impacts the game platform or the anti-cheat software. Attention to all players who participate in the ALGS tournament. Strongly recommend that you take immediate measures to protect your personal information. It's advisable that you change your Discord passwords and ensure that your emails are secure. Also enable multi-factor authentication for all of your accounts if you've not done it yet to perform a clean OS reinstall as soon as possible. Warn to the Anti-Cheat Police Department. Do not take any chances with your personal information. Your PC may have been exposed to a rootkit or other malicious software that could cause further damage. This incident marks an unprecedented event in Apex Legends global history, with gamers being hacked during a live match. It's also the first time that the tournament has been suspended. So, like, hang on, where was the other? Is this?
Can we shoot height? Can we shoot height?
Yeah, shoot now.
I'm cheating. I'm fucking shit. I got aimbot. I have aimbot.
Oh no. You gotta leave the game, bro. You gotta leave the game.
The door's blocked. Tick, break it.
Break it.
I have aimbot right now. I literally have aimbot.
Leave the game.
What if I just don't shoot? We gotta get to the other building. Can we get to the other building? Smoke that off.
I can't. Soaking them.
Hey, blue. 40 on 1. Walking now. Crossing.
So, Raven, tell them I have aimbot right now. Okay, wait, no, I'm back. I'm cheating. No, I can't shoot. I literally cannot shoot. I can't shoot. I cannot shoot.
I'm definitely over here, Jordan.
Get inside.
Way to bring the rest of your team down, because the rest of them should have been disqualified for that too. What a wanker. All right, moving on. A fed-up homeowner has been arrested after a tense standoff with squatters stealing a $1 million house that she inherited from her parents. A New York City property owner recently ended up in handcuffs following a fiery standoff with alleged squatters who she'd been trying to boot from her family home. Adele Andelaro, 47, was nabbed after changing the locks last month at a $1 million home in Flushing, Queens that she says she inherited from her parents. It's enraging, the homeowner said of the squatter saga. It's not fair that I, as the homeowner, have to be going through this. She claims the ordeal erupted when she started the process of trying to sell the home last month, but realised that squatters had moved in and brazenly replaced the entire front door and locks. She said she got fed up and went to her family's home on 160th Street with the local TV outlet in tow on February 29 and called a locksmith to change the locks for her. A heated, caught-on-camera spat with the people occupying the house quickly unfolded. The police were eventually called and escorted 2 people off the property. In New York City, a person can claim squatters' rights after just 30 days of living in the property. Under the law, it is illegal for a homeowner to change the locks, turn off the utilities, or remove belongings of the tenants from the property. By the time someone does their investigation, their work and their job, it'll be well over 30 days, and this man will still be in my home, she said. I'm really fearful that these people are going to get away with stealing my home. A woman who answered the door to the Post on Tuesday said she did not know anything about the squatting claims. I don't have to explain more. Talk with the guy who has the business or the problem with the woman, but not with me because I don't know anything about it. It's not my problem, she said before slamming the door. During a recent encounter at her home, the homeowner, who was armed with the deeds, was filmed entering the property after one of the apparent tenants left the front door open. After changing the locks, a man who said he was leasing the property, identified by the local outlet as Brian Rodriguez, returned and barged through the front door. After changing the locks, a man who said he was leading the property identified... for God's sakes, it's not that difficult to proofread. You shouldn't be trying to steal my house, said the furious homeowner during a caught-on-camera ordeal. Following a flurry of 911 calls, responding cops told her that she had to sort out the saga in housing court because it was considered a landlord-tenant issue. She was ultimately given an unlawful eviction charge because she had changed the locks and hadn't provided a new key to the person staying there, the NYPD confirmed to the Post. She was slapped with a criminal court summons. Despite the footage showing other alleged squatters being led away in cuffs, police said no other arrests or summonses were issued. She's now being forced to start an eviction in filing in court to settle a landlord-tenant dispute. It's horrible, it's her home. I'm glad it's coming to the forefront because it's a disgrace. They can just come and take your home, said a neighbour who didn't want to be named. It's just crazy. We don't know how they got in, when they got in. We have no idea how these people found out about the house being empty. I don't know. That's just insane. All right, so we're on to the Glock story. Because Chicago is suing Glock, blaming their design for the city's gun violence. The city of Chicago is suing firearms manufacturer Glock, accusing the company that makes one of the most popular handguns in America of willfully ignoring a design that allows users to install third-party modifications known as auto-sears that make the weapons fully automatic. According to the suit... Oh, excellent. There is the link there. Auto-sears will allow anyone with $20 to $25 to spare and a desire to circumvent long-standing federal and state prohibitions on possessing fully automatic machine guns to do so in about 5 minutes with common household tools and instructions readily available online. Auto-sears allow modified Glock handguns to fire at a rate of 1,200 rounds per minute. No shit. A rate higher than some fully automatic firearms used by the US military. Really? Is that accurate, people? Can someone in chat confirm that for me? Glock does not manufacture the auto-sears, but they're typically sold by third-party manufacturers and easily purchased through online marketplaces on social media, a Forbes investigation last year revealed. And some can even come branded with the Glock logo, the city lawsuit claims. And they just have to sue after Gaston Glock passed away. However, the suit accuses Glock of making a willful decision not to take meaningful action to address the problem, noting that the process of modifying most other popular pistols into machine guns, such as those produced by Smith & Wesson or Sig Sauer, requires time-consuming and difficult engineering well beyond the capabilities of most civilians. Why should it be their responsibility to modify their design? Chicago PD seized over 1,100 modified Glock handguns in the last 2 years, while the ATF seized another 8,000 in the city between 2017 and 2021. Some gun mods make them so crazy. Interesting. Chicago's lawsuit comes as cities and victims take legal action against American gun manufacturers for shootings and other acts of gun violence. In 2015, the families of 9 victims who died in the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. In 2012, sued Remington, the manufacturer who made the Bushmaster, an AR-15 style rifle used by the attacker. What's that? Jared says, you can 3D print the parts, freely available online. Lovely. After a 7-year court battle, Remington settled the suit and agreed to pay the family $73 million. In 2022, the government of Mexico filed a massive $10 billion lawsuit against Glock, Smith & Wesson, Sturm, Ruger, and other American companies, accusing them of contributing to ongoing drug cartel violence that has gripped the nation for decades. A federal appeal court in Boston recently ruled that the lawsuit can move forward. Multiple cities, including LA, Baltimore, and Washington, have sued Polymer 80, a manufacturer that sells kits to build guns at home. The Baltimore suit, which was settled last week, accuses the company of classifying the kits as non-firearms, allowing them to be sold without background checks. The manufacturer has since had to pay out over $10 million in fines. $10 billion. Yeah, surprisingly, Mexico are blaming their drug problem on American guns. So, not that I've ever really understood that. Okay, where's this? How many pages is this? Because I don't know that I want... Hang on, where's original PDF? .41 pages. I'm probably not going to go through that. Okay, so it's only like 3 pages worth of intro. So we can have a quick look at this. Summary of the action. 100 years ago, the Thompson's machine gun, also known as a Tommy gun, was the go-to weapon for Chicago criminals. Prohibition-era violence with the gun was so prevalent, in fact, that the weapon was commonly referred to as a Chicago typewriter. In 1931, the public outcry in response to the violence led Illinois to prohibit machine guns, followed shortly thereafter by national regulation of machine guns. Unfortunately, the machine gun has returned as a weapon of choice for criminals in Chicago, this time in the form of a Glock pistol, which can be easily modified into a machine gun using a simple quarter-sized device called an autosear. Glock knows that it takes little effort to convert the pistols into illegal machine guns and that criminals frequently do so. Glock also knows that it could fix the problem but has chosen not to, putting profits over public safety and violating the law. You're going to have to explain to me how it violates the law. Now that they got Trump, they can go after all the gun manufacturers with loaded juries and judges and bankrupt them also. Welcome to post-constitutional tyranny. Might be time for another tea party. Glocks affixed with autosears, known as modified Glocks, can fire fully automatically, up to 1,200 rounds per minute, a rate fast or faster than many fully automatic rifles used by the US military. Over the past 2 years, from the beginning of 2021 through to December 2023, over 1,100 were recovered by CPD. These terrifying weapons have caused death and destruction throughout Chicago. They've been recovered in connection with homicides, aggravated assaults, batteries, kidnappings, burglaries, home invasions, carjackings, and attempted robberies. Glock pistols are the most popular form of firearm in America. They're also the firearm that is most favored by criminals, particularly in Chicago. According to the ATF, over 8,000 Glock pistols were recovered in connection with criminal activities in Chicago from 2017 through to 2021. Do they not understand that it's not going to change? Just because you take a form of gun away is not going to change it's not going to remove the criminal element from Chicago. Like, are they freaking insane? It's a lot of crime for any inanimate object to commit. I know, tell me about it. Due to the susceptibility of Glock pistols to modification, Glock's refusal to correct the problem, anyone with $20 to $25 to spare and a desire to circumvent long-standing federal and state prohibitions on possessing fully automatic machine guns can do so by buying an autosear and affixing it to a Glock pistol. The task can be accomplished with common household items like a screwdriver and typically takes less than 5 minutes, with instructions readily available online. Glock has known about this dangerous workaround for years. You seen the barrel mag you can get for a Glock? No shit, there's a barrel mag. Stupid question. When are the prosecutors going to start going after Ford and General Motors for all the deaths caused by racing accidents with NOS kits? When are they going to go after... I mean, that's probably the most prevalent thing that I can think of off the top of my head. If something is able to be modified in a way beyond what it was beyond what was initially intended, that's not the manufacturer's problem. Gun control is dead when we can easily make entire guns at home. Jesus, I don't want to know. It's so prevalent in the practice of installing autosears on Glock pistols that they're commonly known as Glock switches because they allow the shooter to toggle between semi-automatic and fully automatic firing modes. Many autosears are even sold with the Glock logo printed on them, even though Glock does not manufacture them. Glock's willful decision not to take any action to address this problem in its sales to civilians despite its awareness is immoral, unethical, oppressive, unscrupulous, and unreasonable. Don't forget pools. Well, I can't really talk about that same lamp because they introduced rules here that you have to have a fully fenced... any pool you have must be fully fenced. When will the government actually prosecute Boeing? It's a good question. The Daytona couple is your case. Okay, fair enough. Where can I send you a pic? Probably on X would be the simplest place. I cannot believe that they're actually... What? To understand the legal standard, look up the case number. Kelly Kelly v. State. Cheers. Thanks, Steve. What are they actually asking for in this? Enjoining Glock from marketing or selling pistols that can be easily converted into fully automatic to Chicago non-law enforcement consumers. Oh, hang on. Look at this. Enjoining Glock from marketing or selling the pistols to anyone that is not law enforcement. Ordering Glock to implement reasonable controls, safeguards, and procedures to prevent its easily converted pistols from being possessed, used, marketed, or sold unlawfully to non-law enforcement consumers. Award damages against Glock for a reasonable sum of money that will fairly compensate the city for damages. Bite me. Award judgment against Glock in the sum of money that will allow the city to abate the nuisance that Glock has created. Award fines against Glock. Order Glock to disgorge profits obtained through unlawful conduct. Award the city pre- and post-judgment interest. Awarding the city exemplary damages and its cost of investigation and suit, including reasonable attorney's fees. What a joke. What an absolute joke. All right, where are we? All right, let's talk about the shaved pussy. Phantom cat shaver strikes again as dozens of owners across the UK claimed that pets have been targeted. A phantom cat shaver has struck again across Britain in another spate of attacks that have left owners fearing for their pets' safety. Shocked residents in Lambourne and Hungerford have taken to social media to warn of the feline haters' return after claiming their beloved pets have been mysteriously shaved. One owner from Lambourne posted to social media, "Keep your cats inside, the phantom cat shaver is about again." With someone else saying, "My cat has been shaved constantly for months now, it's weird." Reports of cats having their fur shaved first emerged in December 22, with 84 incidents reported between then and March of 2023, mainly in Kent and southeast London, but also in Aberdeen and Southampton. However, it's thought there have now been as many as 217 individual cases, while a map of the reported attacks have recorded over 100 incidents. There's a freaking map! They had to put a map together for all the shaved pussies. Poor thing. Like, all the way up to Scotland? Are you serious? Horrified owners said that their traumatized pets had limped home with fur on their legs and backs removed. Many began locking the cats inside home at night and installing CCTV. Are they totally shaved? No. Some of them are just, like, lopsided, cockeyed, or have a Brazilian. Like, belly shaved, back shaved. It's weird. Last year, Natasha McPhee, 39, who runs the charity Animals Lost and Found in Gillingham, Kent, warned cat owners to be vigilant and report cases to police and the RSPCA. The first cases centred around Gillingham, Cheltenham, and Rainham. She said this first started in our area back in November 22 and has now happened all across the UK. Well, I'm willing to bet some of it's copycat. I have no explanation why or who would do such a thing. In many cases, the cats are left traumatized and it's very upsetting for owners as well. I can only imagine that the people carrying out these attacks are doing it for their own self-gratification or some kind of cheap thrill. Personally, I think that they are sick and need to be caught as quickly as possible. It's feared copycat attacks are taking place, which would explain the widening of the geographical area where they've occurred. Natasha said whoever's doing it must be luring cats with tidbit treats and forcibly grabbing them. Speaking to a vet when she took her own shaved cat in, she said she was told there was no chance the bald patch occurred naturally. She added a while ago there was an incident where an elderly lady was shaving cats going into a garden to punish them. She was spoken to by police and she was stopped. I'm not sure if something like that is happening, but this is happening in such a widespread area that I don't think it's a little old lady in every single town doing it. We dealt with the cat killer cases a few years ago, and that's what I'm concerned about. Something that could escalate. Sounds like leprechauns. In terms of advice for cat owners, Natasha said, obviously some cats can't just be kept indoors and they have to be let out. What I'd say is get some CCTV, plug them into your property, and just watch out for each other and build a community support around you. Get to know your neighbours and help each other out. Also, make sure you report any incidents to the police. Sophie Louise Parks from Bothorpe near Norwich noticed a shaved patch of fur on her cat Gizmo while the strange collar had been placed on the other pet called Lua. What? A collar was placed on the other cat? Now that's a bit weird. Gizmo came home and looked like she'd been shaved on the top of her back leg. People said she must have been involved in a cat fight, but the hair is out by the root, so it's very blatant that she was shaved. If the hair's been removed by the root, then I'm pretty sure that that's not shaved. That's waxing the pussy. It's very odd. Must assume mentally ill. I would think so. Don't understand why people would do this to her. The RSPCA is urging pet owners to be vigilant and report any incidents of cat shaving to the charity or the police. RSPCA Chief Inspector Patrick Hamby said, "We may not be able to do something right away as it's very difficult if you have no leads to go on, but let us know what's going on and in the areas that it's happening in so we can concentrate on those areas. If a cat's been shaved, it would have to have been held down by someone that they don't know, which would put a lot of stress on the cat. Your cat may show signs of not wanting to go out anymore or wanting to go out much less. You hear that, people? A shaved pussy is less likely to want to hit the town." So, poor things though. Like you have to. I know I'm making jokes about this, but it legitimately is animal cruelty. These people are just dicks. When is the get to know your pussy day going to occur? Grifter. Not from my experience as Coke Fairy. That's bad. That's bad. So, all right, where are we? All right. Now we're going to get into the area of the show where I'm going to get a little bit pissed off. We're going to go a little bit longer today because I do need to cover the Doerman case. But there was also some other instances of some very bad parenting. And what I'm going to say is for anyone that... hang on. Pick, you sent me on X. What do we got? Holy crap! Wow. And here I was thinking, why would it matter whether or not, it's got an auto sear on it if you can only hold like 15 rounds in a mag? But that's, wow. Okay. What I was trying to say is that things are going to get a little bit morbid. And yeah. So, but anyway. Basically, what I'm saying, people, is trigger warning, and let's just get stuck into it. This one's not quite as bad as the next one. Wake up! Parents allegedly passed out drunk on the beach on vacation while their kids wandered away. Literally, the dad wakes up. A cop says to him, "Where are your kids?" And he gestures towards the water. Frickin' moron. A Georgia couple allegedly passed out drunk on a Florida beach while their 5- and 7-year-old children wandered off, in a case that has shocked even the local sheriff. Now, Gosney was saying that this may be someone that he will have to represent, so I'm just going to be careful. Volusia County deputies desperately tried 8 times to wake Alicia Langley and her fiancé Timothy Stevens, both 27, as they lay on the sand on Daytona Beach on Saturday afternoon, according to an affidavit obtained by Fox 35. One of the deputies can be seen in body camera footage nudging Stevens with his arm wrapped around his girlfriend. "Hey, the sheriff's office, wake up," she yelled in the footage obtained by Fox 35. He tried to run from the cops, and I don't feel sorry for him in the slightest. Not in this instance. After police were able to rouse the couple, they seemed confused. A deputy could be heard asking the couple where their children were, to which Stevens just gestured towards the ocean as he stumbled in the sand. "You don't know where they are?" the deputy asked. Fortunately, the children were safe and sound, but they were unsupervised, splashing in a hotel pool nearby. A 7- and 5-year-old completely unsupervised. Mugshots check out as expected. The county sheriff's officer, Mike Chipwood, said he had trouble believing the parents could be so negligent when he read the arrest report. "I went and read the report and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. It just boggles my mind that you would drive here, get obliterated, and allow a 5- and 7-year-old to just wander off." Both Langley and Stevens are now facing felony neglect charges, and Stevens is also facing charges for trying to escape and possession of alcoholic beverages on a beach. He was seen in body camera footage getting free from the deputies and running away before he quickly face planted in the sand and knocked himself out. An arrest affidavit also notes that an open beer can was found near his hands, along with multiple empty beer cans and an empty bottle of whiskey in a cooler nearby, as well as other various unsealed alcoholic beverages in the immediate vicinity. He's not the children's biological father, but has assumed a guardian role, according to Fox. When we wonder what we see, why the kids are the way they are, you got to take a step back and look at who's in charge. And clearly, those two clowns shouldn't be in charge of. They can't even be in charge of themselves, let alone a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. Let's go to the tape.
In Volusia County, a couple visiting from Georgia
good, I did pronounce that right.
They're accused of allegedly being drunk on the beach. Their kids nowhere to be found. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Luann Sorrell.
And I'm Arlisa Goldsmith. Fox 35's Patrick Perez is live tonight with more on this story. Patrick, deputies ended up finding the two kids swimming in a nearby hotel pool unsupervised.
Yeah, Marlisa, this story could have had a really tragic ending had those kids wandered off into the ocean here in Daytona Beach. It took deputies 8 times to get those parents to wake up and get their attention. Hopefully, this is a hard lesson learned for them.
I don't think you're allowed to legally in Daytona, no.
Hey! The sheriff's office! Wake up!
A day on Daytona Beach ended with this couple in handcuffs.
Who the is gonna bond us out?
I went and read the report, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Volusia Sheriff's...
I love that that's her concern. Who the fuck is gonna bond us out? Bitch, you were just as culpable for getting drunk and passing out on the beach. Are you serious right now? In all seriousness, when these type of people get kids taken by CPS, they spiral while doing nothing to get the kids back. They will complain that they can't get the kids back happens too often.
Deputies say the couple from Georgia were so drunk they passed out on the beach Saturday afternoon. The deputies asked them where their kids were, but they didn't seem to have a clue. And at one point, the dad calls out for them. You don't know where they are? Sheriff Mike Chitwood could not believe it.
It just boggles my mind that you would drive here and get obliterated and, allow a 5- and a 7-year-old to wander off.
Deputies ended up finding the two kids swimming in a pool at the hotel nearby, unsupervised but safe.
If you don't want to be responsible for your children and that's what you want to do, then find someone to watch them and come on vacation without them.
Why am I being arrested?
Deputies arrested both mom and dad, 27-year-olds Alicia Langley and her fiance, Timothy Stevens. And if you're wondering why his face is bruised...
Oh, they got it on camera.
That's
face
because he tried escaping
there
from
we go.
deputies before face planting on the ground and knocking himself out.
Call an ambulance, please. When we wonder what we see...
That's the fact that he knocked himself out. Not good parenting, but not sure if illegal child neglect. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Fell in child neglect. It's because there was they had a duty of care to the children, and there was a increased. It was a dangerous situation. It's not as if the kids were just at home and on the couch watching TV or something. It's literally like CPS won't take these kids. You don't reckon? Kids left the beach to swim in a hotel pool. Dang. He really did knock himself out. Yep. He was like, I enjoy the squeeze, but it ain't worth going to jail. Pretty much.
Why kids are the way they are, you got to take a step back and look at who's in charge. And clearly these two clowns shouldn't be in charge of, but they can't be in charge of themselves, let alone a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old.
And both parents have been charged with child neglect. They have since bonded out of the Volusia County Jail.
By who? She was so concerned. Who managed to bond them out? Motherfuckers. When I was a kid, I knew well enough where my hotel was and would go back to it. That's child neglect. Imagine something bad happened in the water, the parents know. Yes, that's what it boils down to, really. I mean, even the fact that they were found in a pool is concerning to me because they were completely unsupervised. What if the 5-year-old had drowned and the 7-year-old wasn't able to do anything about it? Or, worse than that, what if the 7-year-old drowned and the 5-year-old's just trying... How many attempts did it take to wake him up the second time? I don't think he actually woke up until after he was already in the jail cell at that point. So, all right. So now we've got to do the update. Oh, hang on. Oh, wait. Oh no, we'll get to the Washington thing afterwards. Because I still need to do the Doerman update, which I have here somewhere. Where have I put that? I thought I had all this in order. Unless I put that in a separate... Maybe I put that in a separate tab. Screw it. Let's talk about why apparently being qualified to be a lawyer is discriminatory now. Washington has adopted a new lawyer licensing path as other states mull bar exam bypasses. Basically, they're saying that the ability to read, write, and actually pass the bar exam is racist. Maybe the kids sold the story to the media and used the media to buy them out. The Supreme Court of Washington on Friday approved several new ways for attorneys to become licensed that bypass the bar exam, adding momentum to the burgeoning alternative licensure movement. Washington's High Court approved in concept 2 new licensing pathways for law school graduates. One option is a new apprenticeship program for law school graduates who work under the supervision of experienced lawyers for 6 months, then submit a portfolio of work for evaluation. A separate option would be allowed to allow law students to complete 12 credits of skills and coursework and 500 hours of hands-on legal work before graduation, then submit a work portfolio to the Washington State Bar to become licensed. Oregon in November adopted an apprenticeship pathway for law school graduates, joining Wisconsin and New Hampshire, which have for years offered law graduates a way to become licensed without taking the bar exam. No shit. High courts in California, Minnesota, and Utah are currently considering proposals to license attorneys without the bar exam, because correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it at a pass-fail rate of about 50%? Makes me wonder what the hotel staff were thinking seeing 2 kids wander in and head for the pool. I'm wondering why they didn't raise the alarm, honestly. But anyway. Oregon in November adopted an apprenticeship pathway for law school graduates, joining Wisconsin. Oh, I just read that. Jesus. White page, my eyesight is... those new options protect the public, address a serious legal deserts problem. Serious legal deserts problem in Washington. And help. Maybe it's just that reasonable lawyers don't want to be in Washington. And help remedy the fairness and bias concerns of the traditional licensure. Said Dean Anthony Verona, who is a co-chair of the Washington Bar Licensure Task Force, which developed the proposals at the High Court's behest. Members of the task force briefed the court on its recommendations in October, after which the court gathered public comment. The court's Friday order did not say when the new pathways will become available, but directed the State Bar Association to convene a committee to explain and to examine how to implement them. That was the nicer of the 2 articles that I was looking at. I went with the Reuters one because it had no bias towards it. But let's look at this one. This one was sent to me, but it's a little bit different to the one that I was looking at. Washington State drops bar requirement to reduce barriers and inequities. The Washington State Supreme Court ruled on Friday that prospective lawyers will not have to take the traditional National Conference of Bar Examiners test to receive licenses. Students will be able to bypass the Uniform Bar Examination and become certified through alternative licensing methods. Law school graduates can enroll in apprenticeship programs and experiential pathways to become practice-ready upon completion. The court also permitted investigations into lawyers to ensure career-long competency while reducing the timeline to 1 year for out-of-state attorneys to become eligible in Washington. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind the fact that I could move to Washington and be eligible to practice within a year. I'm not okay with the next sentence. The Washington Bar Licensure Task Force initially proposed the changes last month to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion and reduce barriers to the legal profession. Because apparently being able to read and write the law and being competent and qualified as a lawyer is against equity and diversity and inclusion. The best available data indicates that the bar exam disproportionately and unnecessarily blocks historically marginalized groups from entering the practice of law. In addition to the racism and classism written into the test itself, the time and financial costs of the test reinforce the historical inequities in our profession. Law students will be able to enroll in the next-gen bar exam, which the court argued focuses on practical litigation skills beginning in 2026. Until next-gen's adoption, law students will only need to achieve a 266 on the bar exam to pass. They literally lowered the required score to pass the bar. The court's decision in adopting the next-gen bar exam, a revised cut score, and the alternate pathways to licensure will protect the public, allow law school graduates a choice of modalities to demonstrate their competency, and will immediately help address the severe shortage of licensed attorneys in broad swaths of the state. How about you just make the state more attractive to competent attorneys? Like, it shouldn't be that difficult. Ha ha ha, for some reason, white lawyer success rates went through the roof. The public is baffled. The task force claims the traditional bar exam is at best minimally effective for ensuring literacy competency, citing its low resemblance to practice and tendency to draw similar conclusions to those provided by law school grades. Picture our current licensing system as a dam, rather hastily built with the purpose of controlling the amount of water flowing downstream. The water represents the supply of individuals with the capacity to practice law and earnest desire to do so. The dam was constructed in such a way that it holds back more water than it should. I could be a super lawyer? No thanks, I ain't paying for that. Why do they need more attorneys? They keep letting everybody back out. That's a damn good point. They want to attract more of Florida's lawyers. Steve! Like, I'm sorry. Hang on. Where is... Oh, right. The photos are on my tablet. I can't actually use it. That sucks. Oh, well. Shit, where do we get to? So where the hell is the Doerman stuff? Oh, hang on. Is that it there? There it is. All right. Now, for those of you that don't know, Chad Doerman has been arrested and will be going to trial on... Hang on, let me do this. For those of you that are new to the case, Chad Doerman is alleged, and I use alleged very broadly here because there's plenty of corroborating evidence and there's the police footage. Allegedly, he murdered his 3 children and shot his wife who was trying to protect one of the kids in the interim. I'm going to go back over the case. We're going to talk about the details. We're going to watch the police footage. And then we're going to talk about the fact that his confession has been thrown out by the court. But before we do that, Mike Middleton, don't get me wrong, I don't care what race you are, but come on, you're letting less capable, less qualified non-white lawyers in. Sympathetic judges are going to make a crap of bad law. Yeah, and that's the thing. And down the track, those individuals will then go to the bench and wear the robe. So... All right, so this is the Law and Crime article from... Where are we? There we go. So this is a Law and Crime article from, July last year. New documents reveal how the father allegedly carried out the senseless murders of his 3 kids. This was basically just the... This is the best way to recap it. Newly revealed documents detail how the Ohio father allegedly executed his 3 sons and how the boys' mother and sister heroically tried to save them. The bill of particulars against defendant Chad Doerman, 32, sheds light on how he allegedly killed the children and even how long he contemplated the act, but it falls short of revealing the key detail, the motives for the deaths of Chase, Hunter, and Clayton. Doerman returned home from work early on June 15, according to the bill of particulars obtained by WCPO. He allegedly asked his wife and sons to join him for a nap in the master bedroom. His rifle, a Marlin Model HC-22, was next to the bed. Meanwhile, the boys' sisters watched TV in the family room. Doerman got into the bed with his wife and sons, got out of the bed, grabbed the rifle, loaded the magazine, and allegedly shot one of the boys twice. The mother immediately tried to help the boy and told the other sons to run. The sister had seen the first shots fired, authorities said. She ran after one of the sons, screaming for him to keep running, according to the documents. Doerman allegedly chased and fired at the boy, striking him. He fell. His father allegedly then shot him at close range. The girl returned to the home, picked up one of her other brothers, holding him in her arms in an attempt to flee. Doerman caught up to them, however, raised the rifle and demanded she put the child down. He allegedly tried to fire but failed. The gun appeared empty, according to the court documents. The brother ran to his mother, who had left the home and gone into the yard to help the son who had been shot outside. The sister ran to the nearby fire department, telling a passerby about her father killing everyone. Doerman allegedly approached the surviving boy and mother and bit the woman to get the child away. Doerman grabbed the rifle. He allegedly shot her through the thumb. She dropped the child, and he allegedly shot him in the head, according to the court documents. He sat on the side stoop and watched as a mother tried to save her son's lives. One of the boys was shot once. The other two were shot 4 times each. As seen on the body camera footage, he was cooperative, even polite when arresting the officers. "I ain't going to hurt you," he told an officer. Doerman told authorities in an audio and video recorded interview that he'd been thinking about carrying out the act since October, according to the documents obtained. He'd not slept in 3 or 4 days up to the killings because he was having thoughts of having to kill his sons. The thoughts were so heavy on him. A neighbour described Doerman's pre-shooting behaviour in ugly terms, saying that the defendant had a temper and yelled all the time and treated his wife like shit. He was angry every day. There wasn't a day he didn't yell at the wife and the kids out there. Doerman's father, Keith, told the outlet he had no explanation for the killings and maintained his son had just snapped. "I could tell in his eyes that he was hollow inside. That wasn't Chad standing at the arraignment. That was not him." Body camera footage shows Doerman banging his head against a wall during the jail booking. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. The charges include aggravated murder. The boy's obituary is heart-wrenching. 3 brothers bonded together in life, and now for eternity as God has reeled them into heaven for unending days of fishing, playing outside way past bedtime, laughing loudly and non-stop giggling. They loved unconditionally, sharing their big hearts with anyone who could make them laugh or give them love. I'm just going to take a second, because that one hit a little bit harder than I remember. But basically, we're going to watch the body camera footage. And then I'm going to try and wrap my head around and understand exactly how the judge could throw out the confession that he made during the interview with police. Because I'm sure there must be some sort of technicality, and I'm going to rant and rave about it.
Shooter still on the porch.
Get him right here, right here. You got him on the porch.
We've
right here.
asked, that's the last place we've been told.
You show me your hands now! Stand up and walk towards us! Stand up now! Walk towards us! Stand up with your hands up!
We know we got a visual in the mail. Not showing his hands, not following commands.
Stand up now!
Not showing hands or following commands. His name is Chad Doerman. Chad Doerman.
I know, but we can't.
If you're going to need first aid and he's not complying, and you know he's a shooter, shoot him.
We gotta find cover first. We ain't no good if we ain't safe ourselves. Hey, no.
Is it wrong that my first thought is, why are these officers not better equipped for this situation? Like, I think maybe I'm just ruined by cop movies or whatever else. I kind of feel like if you know that there's someone that has murdered 3 people, or at least shot at 3 people, allegedly, you go in a little bit more tactically equipped. I mean, don't police cars have, like, at least body armor and shit in the back? Like, I'm also going to speed this up.
We need to come from this side where we can see him. Don't take cover behind her. We see him.
Hey, friendly.
We're going to approach from this side. We got cover. Right here.
6 cover, 29 and 63 tug up.
Population of the town? Unfortunately, I have no idea.
Show us your fucking hands now! Stand up! Stand up! Stand up! Stand up now! Stand up!
Not gonna lie, yeah.
Stand the fuck up!
EMS to stage and air crews going to go ahead and fly whenever any units can advise.
Get your hands up here. Cover 21. It's in there.
And wait for the fucking thing that comes out of his mouth. He's just shot 3 of his children, and his concern is for the dog. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm happy that nothing happened to the dog. But
I can confirm that there's people that need first aid, and that's the shooter who's not complying. They need to get to the victims. They have to shoot in the shootout.
Man, I ain't trying to hurt nobody. I'm completely sober.
63, we're 21. Get the EMS over here.
Well, I did drugs when I was, but I don't do drugs now. I'm sober. I'm not trying to fight you. Yowlin,
63.
get your butt inside. Yowlin, get your butt inside.
We on primary?
Now.
29, we got 3 kids down. 3 kids down, 63.
Yowlin.
63, we're 21. Have EMS respond over here.
You're clear, they're being advised. Robert 34, just started mass do response. 63, do you want them to respond to the Laurel Lindale address? Where exactly do you need them?
We're right in the front yard. What are you doing, man?
Hey, are you copying all this?
Can I roll over? I ain't gonna hurt you. I ain't gonna hurt nobody.
You got anything on you?
No, I ain't got nothing, man. Phone, that's it. I ain't mad. I ain't nothing. Just make sure that dog don't come out. I don't think he'll bite you. Just don't reach for him and try to grab him and pet him.
All right.
He won't bite you.
What's going on, man?
Nothing. Can I stand up? It's kind of uncomfortable.
I'm gonna get you here in a
I ain't
second.
running away. You can do whatever you
Who
want.
the fuck cares if you are uncomfortable, you motherfucker?
Here. You the only one else inside the house?
What?
You the only one else inside the house?
Sit down right here. My daughter, she ran over to the fire department.
Sit down.
It's my stepdaughter.
Put him in that cage.
This is Will.
I will admit I'm very happy that Law and Crime did a good, actually that might have been the police department, did a good job of blocking out the bodies. I don't know, Jason. Some people are just idiots.
Can you get the wallet out of my back pocket? Shut up, dude. You had the right to remain silent. Fucking use it.
You have the right to remain silent, you fucking use it. See, unfortunately, I had the distinct displeasure of coming across this case when it happened last year. And, as many of you all know, I am I have very strong feelings when it comes to any cases where there's kids involved. And that there's a particular reason that I don't practice family law. Because I would happily end this motherfucker. I can't remember if this video that Law and Crime did, whether or not it's got the, it's kind of this interview, or if it's just... No, okay. So it's just his arrest.
The firehouse is advising them that the male shot the entire family.
29-37.
And that's just the body cam from the other side of it. So yeah, that's the history of the case. Now let's look at what's happened in the last few days, because I'm not sure I can understand this one, but I kind of need to, because I'm assuming it's a legal technicality. But the judge threw out the confession, is the death penalty still on the table? God, I hope so. Judge says police violated the rights of the man accused of killing his 3 sons. A Claremont judge has ruled police violated the rights of a man accused of killing his 3 sons in June 2023. Chad Doerman was indicted on 21 counts in the Claremont County Court, including 9 counts of aggravated murder last summer. Judge Richard Ferenik ruled on Friday that the Claremont County Sheriff's Office violated his rights twice, when it failed to advise him of his Miranda rights before interrogating him, and when detectives continued to question him after he said he wanted an attorney. Fuck. Now I'm mad at the cops. You had one fucking job. The court ruled prosecutors couldn't use statements or audio or video recordings from his interrogation. The judge's decision said that the defendant's Miranda rights were violated after the defendant unequivocally and unambiguously invoked his right to counsel when he told Detective Michael Ross, "I'll wait for a lawyer. I don't know. Give me a couple of days. I can talk to a lawyer and get nice, good answers." Therefore, irrespective of the detective's failure to fully and properly advise him of his Miranda rights as immediately set forth above, all statements obtained during the custodial interrogation shall be suppressed, and the state shall not adduce any of those statements in their case in chief. The court ruled the prosecutors couldn't use the statements from the interrogation. Attorneys for Doerman asked the court to suppress portions of his interrogation during a February hearing in violating his Miranda rights. So, this is the 31 pages that the judge put together for his decision. And from what I gather from reading parts of it, the judge is pissed too. Defendant's most recent motion filed January 12, 2024, captioned motions defendant's motion number 9 to suppress in limine. A hearing on the motion to suppress was held February 21, 2024. The defendant was present in court. His counsel... Hang on. You know what? I should find out if... I should see if I can find this. I really should have had that.
Was arrested by...
No, that's the Court TV one. Oh, I don't want to watch the whole 3 hours of it. Shit. Okay, never mind. Sounds like the judge had no choice and followed the law. Yeah. I mean, and that's the annoying thing, that as someone that is pro-defense, even though it is eating me up inside saying this, the judge has made the right call because the cops fucked up. Are you okay, sweetheart? I think the Labracadabrador is having a nightmare. Poor thing. Most evil people should still have their rights as much as we may dislike them. Yes. The defense alleged to have killed his 3 young sons, aged 7, 4, and 3, on June 15, 2023. All 3 were shot and killed at the family home in a more rural, southeasterly area of Clermont County. It's also alleged that he seriously wounded another child and his wife. The defendant was apprehended at the scene and immediately taken into custody. He was secured in the back seat of a deputy sheriff's SUV cruiser that was parked along Laurel Lindale Road, some distance from the actual crime scene. What? Why redact the frigging address and then say that it was parked outside? He remained in the cruiser for about 50 minutes until he was transported from the scene to the sheriff's office. Clermont County Grand Jury returned a 21-count indictment against the defendant on June 22, 2023. He stands indicted on 9 counts of aggravated murder, each coupled with 3 capital aggravating circumstances, 8 counts of kidnapping, and 4 counts of felonious assault. The state presented 6 witnesses: the sheriff's deputy Chad Popham, Jeffrey Rudd, and Melissa Sheems. Sheriff's Detective Michael Ross, Renee Butcher, a social worker employed by Child Focus, who provides her professional services primarily for inmates within the county jail, and Amy Griffin, a nurse employed by the private medical provider who provides medical treatment for inmates within the county jail. The state also admitted without objection from the defendant audio-visual recordings captured from the body-worn camera. While on scene, a copy of Miranda advertisement card used by Detective Ross prior to his interrogation of the defendant at the sheriff's office. Audio-video recordings of the defendant's custodial interrogation. Oh, hang on. Does that mean that they included those? Did they show the video of the interrogation at the hearing? Doesn't look like it. Shit. I'm not gonna lie, I was happy when I heard that this motherfucker confessed. And now because the cops fucked up, they yeah, and as someone said, more likely than not, the daughter is gonna have to testify. And the mother. Custodial interrogation. The defendant raises a number of claims regarding the custodial interrogation conducted primarily by Detective Ross at the sheriff's office. The court summarizes the claims as follows: that Detective Ross failed to properly advise the defendant of his pre-custodial interrogation rights as enunciated in Miranda. A valid waiver of the defendant's Miranda rights was not obtained because Mr. Doerman was never presented with a written copy of his rights. A valid waiver of the Miranda rights was not obtained because he was never asked to sign a written waiver. The defendant unequivocally invoked his right to counsel, yet the custodial interrogation continued thereafter unabated, and detectives employed an outrageous police conduct during the custodial interrogation to such extent that the will of the defendant was overcome, thereby rendering any statements made during the interrogation involuntary. You have the right to remain silent, use it. From there, the cops weren't focused, they were mad, emotions made mistakes. Yeah. Second and third claims above as set forth are without merit. Oh, really? Okay. Court reaffirmed the well-settled principle of law following the claims. After reading the Miranda warnings, he was asked whether or not he understood them. He nodded and continued to answer the detective's questions. Points out he was not given a written copy of the warnings and that he did not sign a waiver, but there is no requirement for the waiver to be written. Fifth claim as set out is also without merit. Will be addressed in more detail below. What's the fifth claim? Fifth claim, detectives employed... Okay. So yeah, it's going to be because he asked for his right to counsel and they continued. Custodial interrogation. Arguments primarily related to this category set forth in section 1. Second claim relates to a butcher interview on the Griffin. I don't care about that. No evidence before the court as to the defendant's mental condition during the custodial interrogation. Again, the defendant did not testify, nor did he present any evidence to suggest what his mental condition at the time was. The defendant did not cross-examine the interrogation detectives to ascertain their opinions of the defendant's mental condition during the process. Further, the defense does not elaborate or identify what evidence constitutes the totality of the circumstances relative to the above claim. Court is not required to scour the record to evidence to find for a movement's argument. I feel sad for the ones that are alive, as I'll never be able to forget what they've seen. It's just, it's fucked up beyond belief, honestly. In this case, the totality of the circumstances include that Chad Doerman was in jail. He had no power, no agency in the situation. No one in his position would reasonably think otherwise. At least one officer threatened him prior to this, Detective Stewart, outside the cruiser where Mr. Doerman was sitting, loud enough to be heard. Is that the motherfucker? Yeah, shut the door so I don't fucking kill him. Your Honor, I think a little bit of leniency needs to be granted. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm usually very anti-police. Jason, as you know, we see eye to eye on a number of things. I think in the instance where these poor bastards have just shown up to take someone into custody who has just shot and killed 3 young boys, I think they've got every right to be a little bit emotional, you know? CCSO detectives had previously ignored his request for counsel. Detectives used coercive tactics during the interrogation of June 15, including Detective Ross comparing him to a monster. I think that would be accurate. His mental state was such that he could not make a knowing, intelligent, or voluntary consent to police being present. Had he been asked, he was in no condition to object to their presence. He was not informed of the recordings, nor did he know that police were recording the conversations. Outrageous police conduct herein should not be countenanced. The court will address each of the claims listed. Okay, don't really care about how he's justified that. What I want to know about is... Yep, so that's the court, having considered the totality of the actual circumstances before it, finds the statements made by the defendant during the custodial interrogation were voluntary, and that prong of the motion is denied. So that's stuff about Miranda. Procedural safeguards seem to be fairly straightforward and easily implement. Just follow the script and history tells us otherwise. God, he's very verbose about this. Still want to know why, what made him basically check out. Mike's asking, you have to be told that you're being recorded. I need to actually go through and read Miranda in its entirety. Here, yes, you need to be told that the... But pretty much as soon as you walk into the room with a police officer, it's this interrogation, this conversation is going to be recorded. For the record, I'm such and such and such and such. And they make a very obvious, very blatant thing about it. Not surprisingly, I don't care about other cases. I want to see what your conclusions were. Not anti-police, I'm anti-cop/pig. No, fair enough. Wait, you're anti-pig? Oh, shit. This is still talking about other cases. I get why he's doing this. I get why he is being so verbose and very, putting all the case law in and that sort of thing. Because this would not be an easy one to have to go on appeal. But I would really just like it if you could just specify as to what the actual problem was. Where is your conclusion? Wait, hang on. In conclusion, the court held. No, that's talking about the case. Ultimate question here are whether the Miranda warnings read to Doerman on June 15 were complied with the 4 invariable warnings required by Miranda, and if not, a rigid incantation of those warnings. Were they a fully effective means adopted to fully notify him of his right to silence, or a rigid incantation of the Miranda warnings? Did they touch all the bases required by Miranda, or did the words used explicitly advise him of the full contours of each Miranda right, thereby communicating to him? Detective Ross had in his hand the standard business card size Miranda warnings issued by the Claremont County Sheriff Office. The card reads as follows: you have the right to remain silent. Anything you can say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions, and to have a lawyer with you during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before any questioning if you wish. Do you understand these rights? Are you willing to answer some questions? Between 3951 and 3959, I'm reading the rights card. He advises Doerman of the following rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have the right to talk to a lawyer before you have any questions. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you. Doerman says yes, and he says you understand. Good. Okay, so I feel like Miranda was complied with there. Detective Ross then begins the interrogation. It's clearly exposed in the state's exhibit. Ross inexplicably completely omitted the 3rd invariable Miranda warning. Oh, no shit, that he has the right to the presence of an attorney. Oh, shit, he did too. He only said you have the right to talk to a lawyer, not that you have the right to... Fuck! Also, of critical importance is the detective's failure to adopt any other fully effective means to notify Doerman of his invariable right to fully advise him of his right to silence. He simply embarked on his interrogation of Doerman at 40:05. Accordingly, the court finds the detective the detective did touch all the bases required by Miranda. The detective here did not advise Doerman of the full contours of each Miranda right. The court finds the decision in power compels it to answer all 4 questions as set forth above in the negative. The court found that the Tampa advice did not entirely admit any information Miranda required them to impart. First, the court found that Tampa police properly advised Pally had the right to talk to a lawyer before he answered any questions. And while they did not advise him that he has the right to the presence of an attorney as Miranda requires, they did use other fully effective means to advise him of his rights by reciting Tampa's catch-all phrase, you have the right to use any of these rights at any time during this interrogation. Accordingly, the court found that in combination, the 2 warnings reasonably conveyed Powell's rights to have an attorney present, not only at the outset of the interrogation, but at all times. While Detective Ross did advise Doerman that he had the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you questions, he did not advise him of his equally invariable right under Miranda and its progeny, as explained above, to have a lawyer present during the interrogation. It's a fucking technicality. Like, don't get me wrong, I get it. It's an important right. It is something that needs to be included, but and that's why his entire confession is going to be thrown out. And that trial will be extended from a week to maybe 4 or 5. Consequently, the court finds that Detective Ross did not properly advise Doerman of the 4 invariable warnings required by Miranda, adopt a fully effective means to notify Doerman of his right to silence, touch all bases required by Miranda, or advise him of all the contours of each Miranda right such that it's communicated to him in the same essential message. Accordingly, all statements obtained from Doerman during the custodial interrogation are suppressed, and the state shall not be permitted to introduce any statements obtained during the custodial interrogation in its case in chief. The second reason why the court will not give credence to the decision. Oh, hang on, that's going through Clayton. Okay. Decisions. Court now turn its attention to the fourth claim that he unequivocally evoked his right to counsel. Okay. Detective Ross began questioning Doerman at 40:05 between 45:44 and 45:53. He states, "I'll wait for a lawyer. I don't really know. Give me a couple of days. I can talk to a lawyer so that way I can get nice, good answers." At 45:57, he states, "I understand." To ascertain a full context of his request for counsel, the court begins its inquiry when Doerman is escorted from the immediate crime scene to Deputy Rudd's cruiser. Walking along the roadway to the cruiser at 01:08, Doerman asks Rudd to get his wallet out of his back pocket. He immediately responds, "Shut up, dude. You have the right to remain silent. Fucking use it." Seconds later, he says, "Yes, sir." As the body cam cameras are always running on military time in the right-hand corner, it reflects that Doerman was secured in the cruiser at about 4:30 p.m. on June 15, 2023. Rudd transported Doerman from the scene to the sheriff's office in Batavia. That reflects Doerman arrived at the sheriff's office at approximately 5:47 p.m. He was then escorted to the sheriff's office into the interview room. Detective Ross engaged the recording device in the interview room at about 5:51 p.m. Doerman enters the room shortly thereafter, perhaps 2 minutes. Doerman sits alone in the interview room. He makes no statements of any nature. A deputy then enters the room and remains until Detective Ross re-enters the room at wait, is that detective or deputy? It's probably, oh fuck, this whole time it's probably been deputy. Re-enters the room. Neither he nor the deputy guarding him asked any questions or made any spontaneous statements. As noted, Deputy Ross starts his questioning at 40:05. At 45:44, he requests a lawyer. During that time period, he asked a number of questions, most of which were not about the events of the day, but rather questions about prior contact between the past 2 years and how he was feeling at the time. Doerman would respond to some of the questions, but would remain silent after some. At one point, when Doerman was not responding to questions, Detective Ross asked him what he was thinking, and if he was all right. Doerman did not respond. At 42:10, he asked Doerman, "Why don't we do this? Why don't you tell me what's happening? What happened today?" At 42:31, Doerman responds. Over the next 20 seconds or so, he responds to additional questions posed to him. Between 43 and 44:12, Ross changes gears and asks him when he last ate, slept, if he was thirsty or hungry. He would answer some of those questions but not respond to others. At 44:17, he asks, "What happened to your family today?" No response. 44:30, "Somebody make you upset?" At 44:37, Doerman responds, but it's unclear what he says. Between 44:40 and 45:06, Deputy Ross poses about 5 questions about the day's events. Over the following several seconds, he answers some questions but not others. Finally, at 45:43, Deputy Ross asks Doerman, was he just saying he lost his way, and without hesitation, almost interrupted, Doerman says, "I'll wait for a lawyer. I don't really know. Give me a couple of days. I can talk to a lawyer and get nice, good answers." Deputy Ross responded, saying that he understood. Then he asks at 46:03, "Do you have a lawyer?" From his apprehension at the scene, his placement in the cruiser at the scene, and during his transport to the office, he remained totally silent for an hour while in police custody. He asked no questions. He did not make any statements during the time period. Then, during the interview for nearly 40 minutes, he asked no questions and made no statements. The court can best describe the interview process as one trying to pull teeth. Doerman would at times sit in total silence, not look at Deputy Ross or answer his questions. At other times, he would hesitate a few seconds before responding. His conduct and demeanour from the time that he was secured in the cruiser until he asked for counsel was that of a person either unwilling to talk to officers or exceedingly hesitant to do so. "I'll just wait for a lawyer" is not a question, but a declaration that he wants a lawyer. The court believes that an ordinary person would understand this declaration unambiguously referring to having counsel present. The second clause, "I really don't know," could be considered ambiguous. Doesn't mean that he doesn't know if he would wait for a lawyer or didn't know if he had lost his way. The last statement from Deputy Ross before the statement was made. Taken in isolation, and if he'd stopped talking at that point, it's possible that an ordinary person might not understand the first two clauses unambiguously referring to having a lawyer present, and lead to a finding that Doerman did not unequivocally invoke his right to counsel. But Doerman did not stop. The final two statements. Give me a couple of days. I can talk to a lawyer, get nice, good answers. Convinces the court that an ordinary person would understand these declarations unambiguously referring to having a lawyer present. And coupled with his statement, I'll wait for a lawyer, leads the court to determine that he unequivocally invoked his right to counsel. Therefore, construing the totality of the circumstances leading up to the declaration and the full extent of all words spoken by Doerman at the time when he asked for a lawyer, the court finds he unequivocally invoked his right to counsel. Deputy Ross was required to stop questioning him immediately under Miranda, and no evidence resulting thereafter from the interrogation can be used against him. Fuck. That'll do it. You know what I said earlier about cops doing their job? About how they had one fucking job? Maybe they could stop being such macho assholes and do what they are legally required to make sure that the things stick. You know what comes to mind right now? Right now, what's coming to my mind is a scene from Law & Order SVU, where the blonde prosecutor sits there and goes, well, maybe if you'd done your jobs, this person would be in jail. And I can't, for the life of me, I cannot disagree. Get the feeling the judge didn't really want to rule the way that he had to. No, I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. In this instance, the judge has had to follow the letter of the law. And unfortunately, as a lawyer, I also have to agree with the circumstances, but that doesn't mean that I have to like it. The cops should have done their friggin' jobs. But at least I don't have to worry about the rest of the thing, because that was in relation to his interview in custody, which the judge already ruled is available for use. So the court finds the following. The defendant's Miranda rights were violated because Deputy Ross failed to properly and fully advise Doerman prior to initiating the custodial interrogation, and all statements obtained from Doerman during the custodial interrogation shall be suppressed, and the state shall not adduce any of these statements in their case in chief. The Miranda rights were violated when the custodial interrogation continued after he unequivocally and unambiguously invoked his right to counsel when he told Deputy Ross, I'll wait for a lawyer, I don't know, give me a couple of days. Therefore, irrespective of the detective's failure to fully and properly advise him of his Miranda rights as immediately set forth above, all statements obtained during the custodial interrogation shall be suppressed, and the state shall not adduce any of those statements in the case in chief. So basically, they fucked up twice, and from the sounds of it, the judge was willing to let the first one go. But then they kept the interview going after he asked for a lawyer. So even though they could have, turned it around, and potentially the second fuck up was just that big that they couldn't excuse it. That's aces. That's aces right there. He literally admitted to it and got off on a technicality. Yes. If I can find the... Hang on, let me see if I can... I'll take one last crack at it. What do I need? That's body cam. That's 2024. That's the judge tossing the... That's the arrest. Body cam footage. I don't know. Is it bad to say we need judges like this one even more? No. The irony of it is that this is a judge that is willing to do his job. Don't get me wrong, a judge that is willing to follow the law and apply it equally and evenly is great. It's just that sometimes we have undesirable outcomes. I would rather have a judge that is uncorruptible, that is ethical, and that is able to follow their ability without becoming emotional over a wildcard judge any day. FYI, almost all the prosecutors in SVU were blonde. Is SVU still going? It's probably been a good decade since I watched an episode of SVU. I'll be perfectly honest. The defendant's Miranda rights were not violated due to the failure of the detectives to have him sign a written waiver. The Miranda rights were not violated due to failure of the detectives to give him a written copy. The statements obtained by the detectives as a result of custodial interrogation, irrespective of the violations of Miranda as set forth, were nonetheless voluntary and were not the product of any coercive conduct of any detective or any other deputy who had contact with Doerman at the time of his apprehension. So basically saying they fucked up, but it's not enough to constitute any sort of misconduct. The Butcher interview and the Griffith exam were constitutionally permissible, and none of the statements obtained from Doerman shall be suppressed. It's hereby ordered that the motion to suppress in limine is granted in part, and all statements obtained during the custodial interrogation be suppressed. State shall not introduce States Exhibit 4A and 4B, the audio-video recording of his interrogation, or in any other way adduce these. Ethics, who needs ethics? Just refer back to Washington State.
Breaking news.
And here's what's breaking at 11 o'clock. A judge decided to suppress specific evidence in the trial of a father accused of shooting and killing his young sons last summer in Claremont County. Investigators say Chad Doerman confessed to executing his 3, 4, and 7-year-old sons, but now that confession cannot be used in his upcoming trial. Chancellor Nguyen joins.
And I know it's wrong of me, but now that I know that it's not going to be used in court and that it can't be used in court, I want that released to the public. Not because I want it and that's why I know that it won't, because there'll be the allegations that, you know, it could influence potential jurors, that it wouldn't be procedurally fair, and any number of other things. But I want to see it. Because if there's a chance that he gets off on a technicality on this case, I want to hear the words come from his motherfucking mouth.
This is with a closer look at the judge's ruling and how this could impact the case.
Yeah, the court has now ruled that prosecutors cannot use statements, audio, or video recordings from Chad Doerman's custodial interrogation. So tonight, I spoke with Fox 19 Now legal analyst and criminal defense attorney Mark Crumbine. Well, he tells me that this ruling could impact whether Doerman receives the death penalty if he's found guilty.
Oh, what?
Part of a case being a death penalty case is you have to have convictions for aggravated murders.
Fox 19 Now legal analyst and criminal defense attorney Mark Crumbine says the judge's ruling to suppress the custodial interrogation of Chad Doerman could make it harder for the prosecution to get an aggravated murder conviction, which Crumbine says could take the death penalty off the table for Doerman.
Some of the statements that he made, allegedly made, would show premeditation, and premeditation is a component of an aggravated murder.
On Friday, the judge ruled that the Claremont County Sheriff's Office violated Doerman's right.
So it's going to make it that much more difficult for the prosecutor's office as well, because they do, as I just said, in order for him to get the aggravated charge, they have to prove the premeditation and that it wasn't a crime of passion at the time. So they would need to find recordings or writings or some sort of records that he had previously looked into it, or even witnesses saying that he had specifically said that he was going to do it, or something along those lines. Excuse me. Like they may still find him guilty of murder, but not necessarily the charge that he should be getting. I'm finding it difficult to reconcile this one. I really am. Because as many of you that watch me know, there are certain circumstances where I say, yes, someone has forfeit their right to breathe. And anything where children is involved I'm very strongly of that opinion. Hence the wood chippers. And the fact that this motherfucker has allegedly confessed, and it's on record. Like, I get that it was probably emotional. I get that they were probably suffering from all levels of compassion for that family at that time. But the cops still needed to do their fucking job. Also see the prosecution attempt a plea deal to stop the bleeding and take the death penalty off the table. God, I hope not.
Twice. Firstly, by failing to advise him of his Miranda rights before interrogating him.
I think Judge Ferentz made a very good decision. Right by the books, by the law, by the Constitution.
The second time is when the judge says detectives continued questioning Doerman after he said he wanted an attorney. Court documents reveal that Doerman told officers, quote, "I'll wait for a lawyer. I don't know. Give me a couple of days. I can talk to a lawyer and get nice, good answers."
He clearly invoked his right to have counsel during questioning, and it was not afforded to him. So that's the double reason.
Yeah, the judge made the right call.
Did not allow the so-called confession or the statements.
Doesn't mean I have to like it though.
Again, Crumbine says this ruling could take the death penalty off the table, but it's still not completely out of the question.
So there's a lot of other evidence, but it would have been sort of icing on the cake for the prosecution if they could have gotten in the statements he made to the detectives. But that's gone now.
So Doerman is facing 3 counts of aggravated murder, 1 for each of his 3 sons that he's accused of shooting and killing. 7-year-old Clayton, 4-year-old Hunter, and 3-year-old Chase.
Chancellor, thank you very much.
Good afternoon.
I cannot fathom. But anyway, that's the update on the case, guys. I'm going to get out of here. I think it's safe to say that I'll be following that one when it goes to trial. Hopefully it'll be televised. I mean, the hearings apparently have been. I kind of want to do that hearing, but at the same time, I mean, it's 3 hours. I don't have time to do it right now. But maybe we'll have a look at it at some point. Also, hang on, where are we? I'll just go back to. The other thing is, guys, I've got a few more ideas in the pipeline now that I'm able to have guests and that sort of thing. I'm kind of thinking like along the lines of doing like a monthly, like laugh you lose, but you guys submit the jokes or whatever. So if you have any like video ideas that you think will get me to crack, or if there's any like particularly bad jokes or anything like that, feel free to send them through to AussieOverlawd@gmail.com just so that I can sort of stash them. Just put laugh you lose in the title, just so that I know that because I don't want to read them beforehand. Like, I want it to be a perfectly off-the-cuff reaction. But kind of going to do something along those lines just to try and, like, cheer things up, shall we say. Or at least end on a brighter note. Because, yeah, Les Lowroll says, tempted to open the bottle that's been sitting on my desk for over a year. Oh, and I just realized, at no point have I actually asked this, but maybe just double-check whether or not you've hit the like button. Double-check whether or not you're still subscribed, because it's, you know, it's kind, it helps the channel, and it gets us somewhere. So let's have a look at this. So today's video is from Momem, channel with, this particular video has 18 million views. Good on them. Hopefully I'm not going to get struck for this, but let's have a look.
Mi me mamo mi me mamo mi me mamo mi me mamo mi me mamo.
Damn it.
Muchas gracias, afición. Este es para vosotros.
I began to pass out. Then my head hit the wall. Boom.
Oh!
But I had a praying
Bro, you know what happened last time. Just drive careful, please.
Okay, I will say this. Some of these influencer things are getting going a bit far. Like, I'm seeing the odd thing on, like, X and YouTube and that sort of thing, where people are just being absolute morons about basically just having main character syndrome. Some of the shit's funny. Some of the shit's just like, you know, if you're gonna be funny, at least make it realistic, you know. Okay, that's good. Didn't even try and stop. Most people are morons. This is true.
That's.
Hey. The fuck?
Santa Claus is.
Oh, almost took out Dad's nads. Oh, I'm so getting one of those for next Halloween.
Mommy, can you video record me hitting it?
Okay. Oh, poor Papa. Helping himself. Oh, that's not funny.
Wanna go out? Okay. Seriously, this cat's a little stupid. Nice chicken. Nice chicken.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it looks better than the turkey leg I had on the weekend, but uh-oh.
Ice cream? 早上好，中国！现在我要冰淇淋，我喜欢冰淇淋。
What the fuck was that?
Okay.
Is this supposed to be a thing?
Sin City wasn't made for you.
Guys, it has been ages since I've like looked at any memes or anything like that. That's why I thought I'd do this. You know, try and catch up on things. Oh, I so thought the dog was gonna hump him then. Taking his hat's funnier though. How do I feel about the new Bond actor announcement? I haven't looked who it is. I saw it was an announcement this morning, but I haven't. Well, that's literally a fuck you in particular, isn't it? Uh-oh, that's not going to end well. Pretty sure the Munchkin's done that on at least 3 occasions. That is a wet pussy. Aaron Taylor Johnson? Who the fuck's that? Someone woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Oh, Jesus.
Oh my god, flying squirrel, boy. Whoa. Oh shit, what's that, boy?
Mantornos. Chegou o Sam.
Ah, a Tiffany é corajosa lá. Que caiu?
There goes her phone.
Que caiu?
Sin
He's in Kick-Ass, Scarlet Witch's brother in Avengers. No shit. I'll have a look in a second. Me and my friends at Walmart. Well done, dipshit.
Hey, get out of here!
Okay, that one I'm showing to the wife just because she loves that sort of stuff. So what'd you say? Aaron Taylor Johnson. You know what? I'm just gonna say new Bond. I'll have a quick look. Oh, really? Speculation mounts over new James Bond. Aaron Taylor Johnson, speculation mounts over new James Bond. Speculation over which actor will take on the role of James Bond's been mounting once again after reports British actor Aaron Taylor Johnson's been offered the role. The Sun's reported the kick-ass and Marvel film actor has been formally offered the job of 007, formerly played by Daniel Craig. Well, who really cares? Have you seen the Ninja Cat vids? I don't believe so. Looks okay if he doesn't have his long hair, I guess. I don't know why, but Daniel Craig just doesn't look right there. Something's wrong. Okay, so the BBC's giving me nothing. He's not of colour, he can't be Bond. He also doesn't have tits. Yeah, look, could work. I mean, yeah, you're right. So as long as he's got the short hair and he's not there's nothing weird about it, I suppose. But anyway. Anyway, all right, guys. We've had a little bit of a palate cleanser, so I'm going to get out of here. Oh, as always, please remember you're not a piece of shit. You have value and you do contribute to society. Thank you to everyone that's double-clicked that like button. And as always, people, remember to stay healthy, wealthy, and wise, because I just realised I've already told you you're not a piece of shit twice. So stay healthy, wealthy, and wise, and I will catch you all on the flip side. Cheers, peeps.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.